It's the queen. That's the queen. It's the queen. Yeah, the queen has arrived. She's collecting all the royalties. That's the queen.
My heavenly Father's children, the time has come for judgment. Armageddon.
Mighty warrior.
Disclaimer. We are regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy.
Kick that shit.
What's up, y'all? It's Cecil West, Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com, back again with the one and only
Jonathan Lippy.
And a man with a beard so nice he is banned at pool parties all around the country.
I am Matthew Weaver.
And this is Beyond the Harmony live here in full effect. We're here for the first time, boys, though. Not only are we here live on YouTube, but we're live on Twitch. We're live on Facebook. We are streaming in 3 areas right now for our monumental Thug Queen interview.
That sounds expensive, Cecil. How did you pull that off?
Well, I got to shout out all the people that take the time to donate, to sponsor, the people that send us stuff. When we say that the money from this that you donate, that you give to this show, that the things that you do go back into this show and not into our pocket, I mean, man, do we mean it, that every cent goes back into the show. And because of your donations, because of our recent sponsorship from Hell's Good Guy, we were able to reinvest into our Streamlabs, is what we use to bring this show to y'all. And we decided to upgrade. This way, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitch, you can tune into Beyond the Harmony. If you don't like our current Facebook page, you can find it at Beyond the Harmony. And if you are a Twitch user, please find us on Twitch. It is Beyond the Harmony on Twitch, twitch.com/Beyond the Harmony, and show us some love over there as well. But we are here. We are in full effect. I talked to the Queen about a half hour ago. She was setting up. She's going to let me know once she's ready to go. So we may have a little bit of time, but while we're chilling, we'll talk some bone. And when the Queen hits me up, then we'll jump into it.
Yeah, so Cecil, I don't know if you or Matt have been watching Loki. I'm not going to talk about Loki, but I'm using an analogy for what took place 2 weeks ago. That one-on-one interview in the Loki show, it deals with all these like branches of time breaking off from these variants and variations and variables. And I feel like a rift in time took place from the aftermath of that one-on-one interview. That thing was, I would think, top 5 all time on Beyond the Harmony. I think the fans agree. I just want to know, how has it impacted you over the past 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, first, let me just say that it exceeded all expectations. I mean, when we sat and we talked about the 101 interview, you know, it was one thing. You guys know that I was ultra hype. I was like, hey, you know, found 101, Graveyard Shift. I think that this is a great interview. I think that this is so beyond the harmony. And, I was really excited, you know, for that. But I had no idea if the fans would, you know, embrace it the way that I did. Would Beyond the Harmony really understand? You know, are they going to want to hear from a guy that's got one verse? You know, things like that. Like, all these thoughts run through my head. And I got to tell you, the amount of comments that were, yo, this is the best Beyond the Harmony interview I've ever heard. This is the best one you got. Thank you guys for doing this. It blew my mind. The impact is so big. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but it landed another interview that's coming later so big that it's going to blow you guys' mind. Like, I talk about the power of the channel. The power of the channel is so real. It's so real. It's so real, guys. I mean, it's phenomenal. I'm really happy. We're off to a great start. Season 4, 101 of the Graveyard Shift, Thug Queen of the Mighty Mo Thug tonight. And, you know, we had that little teaser with her, but that wasn't enough.
No, not only that. And the great part about having this Thug Queen interview tonight, because I'm sure not everybody, even though that replay we did had a lot of views, but for those that didn't get to see that first interview, this one is one of the ones that has been asked about since season 1. When y'all gonna get Thug Queen on?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I hope everybody has all their long-held 23-year questions in their mind, because it's like Thug Queen kind of vanished for a while there. Even though you may discover, if you check out that playlist, that Thug Queen really hasn't been gone. She's been around all this time. I didn't realize this until I started doing the research on it. But there's 14 tracks that Thug Queen has been on over the years. So if you think it's just Ghetto Cowboy and The Power and whatever happened on Mo Thug 2, check out that playlist. It may surprise you to see what's on there. But I want to say this real quick. You guys are doing a great job, but we put out this Tony Tone single a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want my city to win.
I want my city to win.
I want my city to win. And I hope you guys want Tony Tone to win. And I know you all want to, but share that out with your friends. Let people know, like, hey, man, Tony Tone from Poetic Hustlers, he's got a new single out. So make sure you let people know about Tony Tone. Secondly, same with Soulja Boy. Before we even did this, everyone for years has been saying, we want that Soulja Boy. We want that Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy has dropped 2 spectacular albums. They are excellent front to back. So if you haven't heard Flowers or The Soil, all it costs is to stream it. You know, just watch it. It's free. He's got like 5 or 6 music videos out.
Hey, Eddie Johnson, will there be a Bone Thugs diss song on the new album? I'm not sure what album you're talking about, Eddie. Drop it in the comments, homie. Sorry to cut you off, John.
Yeah. Okay. Will there be a Bone Thugs diss song on the new album?
Oh, another one. Cold Blooded. Shout out to Beyond the Harmony, Thug Queen. On my way home to watch BTNH for life. Shout out my man Cold Blooded. Eddie Johnson and Cold Blooded both dropping $5 super chats. That's what I like to see. This is how we start the night off right, boys.
Yay. Yeah, so just to wrap it up, I mean, I'm just kind of griping. I want to see Tony Tone and the Cleveland City to win. I want to see Soulja Boy to win. So make sure, if you haven't already checked out the albums, Flowers, The Soil, and the 5 to 6 music videos Soulja Boy has, go check those out. And if you haven't heard I Want My City to Win by Tony Tone, that's an exclusive right here on Beyond the Harmony. You can check it out and pass it on to a friend, like one of your old friends. Be like, hey, man, you remember Poetic Hustlers? Tony Tone's got a new song. So
yeah,
that's what I got.
And it's good, bro. Like you know, I know that when we listen to former affiliates, you know, sometimes the songs are hit or miss depending on where they recorded it, et cetera, et cetera. But I Want My City to Win is super on point. I mean, it's killer, man. It's really killer. He did a great job. The production is right. His flow is, possibly better than when he was a Mo Thug, and just the overall quality and everything of it is really good. It's really
I like
good.
it better. I've been listening to it several times since it was released. I was very impressed.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good.
It has re-listenable factor to it too, because what I really like about it is that it's kind of like new subject matter, right? So it's not like when you hear it, it's like, okay, I heard this kind of stuff before. It's all new subject matter, new ways to think. It's like music for adults in a way. So I kind of dig that. He's growing with the fan base.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something I wanted to mention, just going back to 101 real quick, is I'm very proud to announce that if you are a MC, if you're a rapper, if you're working on an album, if you're working on songs, and you would like to feature 101 of the Graveyard Shift of Shots of the Double Glock on your song, we are pretty much exclusively working out 101 features. Feel free to send an email beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know that you're interested, and we can talk shop. Let's get 101 on your record. 101 is about to start dropping what he should have been dropping 20 years ago. Like we had talked about. This is a guy that should have had a bunch of songs. He said in his interview how, unfortunately, prison had held up a lot of it. So he's out, he's making music, we're handling the features. So if you're somebody that would like to get 101 on a song with you, on a record, beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. And let's talk about getting 101 on your record.
Yeah, absolutely. And over the past week and a half, I've been looking through some of our emails that fans have submitted, and I got a chance to call Andre the Giant. He was one of our first fans of the channel. Not the first, but one of the first. But actually might have been one of the first callers that call him. Had an excellent conversation with him. His bone knowledge is superb. And he told me some topics that I had forgotten about. The first one is he asked if I had remembered about the Thug World Order album before it was called that. He's like, hey man, you remember it used to be tentatively titled Independence Day, as in the independence from Ruthless Records.
Yeah.
And I had completely forgotten all about that. And you remember that, Cecil?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so that was a blast from the past. I haven't seen that spoken about or brought up or anything like that. So that was a neat thing he brought up. Another one he talked about was he wanted us to bring up that Bone Thugs and Harmony has the most extensive catalog of all genres. And if anybody could think of a group that has a larger, even in other genres like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, or I think Bones goes beyond all that. If you consider all of the satellite groups, all of the affiliates, all the branches that have come out of it, Mo Thug, Seven Sign, Harmony House, The Life Entertainment, all the stuff that's broken off. And I cataloged 4 years ago when I started that Bone database, that it was 198 albums. And I haven't calculated anything since New Waves. So I know it's continued to grow. All these Lazy Bone and Flesh Bone and Busy Bone soul albums have come out since then. So if you could think of anybody that's got a bigger catalog, even Wu-Tang Clan with all the Wu affiliates and the Wu satellites, I think Bone has more than them. So he wanted that brought up. Also, he said that the DJ Unique Busy Bone album, The Greatest Rapper Alive, that he had heard that it was supposed to be 7 volumes. So if anybody has any knowledge on that.
Oh, it wouldn't even surprise me.
Yeah.
Doesn't even surprise me.
He told me a bunch of other things too, but it was great to talk to him. And if you guys are Bone fans and you guys might want to just connect up, it's great to talk with other connoisseur Bone fans on the phone. It's one thing to just text people back and forth, but if you could pick up the phone and call somebody, it's great to have a convo. So my talk with Andre the Giant was excellent. If y'all want to share phone numbers and give each other calls, it's kind of a refreshing thing to do. Cecil, me, and Matt, we all get to do it here on the channel. You guys get to hear us chat. But sometimes if you guys want to talk, that's why we have you guys call on the show. And also, I'm just saying offline, you guys might want to try that out. It's nice to talk boom.
I
Offline.
I make John do all the calls. I don't fucking call nobody. as soon as somebody emails me and says, "Yeah, you're trying to get you on the phone," I'm like, "No problem." I'm like, "John, call this person."
Hey, you never know what you find out,
Call 'em.
especially if they're like their knowledge level. Oh, he also mentioned one other thing too. It's bone related, but not really. So he said he had two favorite lyricist rappers. He said Busy Bone is probably the greatest rapper alive lyrically, but he said Cannabis is a close second, if not a tie for first. And he mentioned that Cannabis made a song called 1,000 Bars, and it's actually 1,000 bars of rapping, and it's on the Whom the Beat Tolls album. So if you guys are East Coast fans, you like Cannabis, check out that 1,000 Bars. That sounds interesting to me. 1,000 bar song. So
I just want to let everybody know tonight that just like the last time, you can drop your questions in the chat. John and Matt will be taking note of them. I have roughly 70 questions myself. If you got a question that you really want to ask, though, hit us with a $5 or more super chat, and John will make sure that one's on the priority, and we'll make sure that your question gets asked. Please remember that there is no amount of money that you can give for us to ask a disrespectful question. If you're a Beyond the Harmony subscriber, you know the type of questions that we look for. So please be respectful with your questions and your super chat questions. But we will be taking all questions that are dropped in the chat. And if you want to make sure that we ask your question, a $5 super chat, or you can head over to streamlabs.com/Beyond the Harmony, and you can do it there. Or you can do the Cash App. It's the Cash App, Beyond the Harmony. It's Beyond the Harmony on everything except for fucking Twitter that doesn't have enough characters. And on Twitter, we are Beyond the Harmony because fuck Twitter.
yeah, a piece of news I seen, it's old news, that I guess from pandemic that the Life clothing apparel store closed down.
Really?
And that's
the location?
Yeah, I guess he's just doing it online.
Man,
now.
that is so fucking too bad, man. Wow. This is the first I've heard about that. That hurts.
Yeah, because one of the Jorge Ramirez a long time ago, he said that he knew the guy that's worked at the store since it opened up, and he's like, y'all should get that guy on the show. Can you imagine the stories that guy has? As people coming in and just the store itself, because I think that store should have been celebrated more in Bone culture. Crazy did do the music video from the Quick Fix Volume 1. I forgot the name of it. It's one of the best songs on the album. And and I think there's another video that takes
Chaos
place
Bone says a while back ago, it's been a year now. So it's been years now. How many fucking years has it been? This is all news to me, but I'm going to be honest. I don't keep up on the Life store like that. I've never been there. I don't order gear from the Life. I order my gear from Lazy Gear. So
I guess from what I saw online, it was from the pandemic. It's the first I heard of it too.
Justin says he drove by in 2019 and it was already closed. Man, that is too fucking bad, man. That's too bad.
Wow.
That's too bad. Hey, shout out to Crazy Bone for actually having a brick and mortar as long as he did for something like this. Joseph says it closed before the pandemic. Chaos says about 3 years. That's too bad. But shout out to Crazy because he had that store for so long, and to have a brick and mortar store, especially one that's selling merch, and not only are they selling it, but they're selling their own. It's not like they're selling, like other brands and shit, at least to my knowledge, so it's like to have a store be successful for that amount of time, regardless of whether it closed or not, was a real achievement, because we live in the internet age where you don't need a fucking brick and mortar. People don't care about it. So even though it closed, shout out to Crazy Bone. That's all news for me, but I don't live in that area. So, but that does hurt. That hurts a little bit. So I just want to let everybody know that I am speaking with Thug Queen on the side. She's just getting some things ready. She's been on the run all day, and she's just trying to settle in and get things ready. So if you're waiting for the Queen, she is coming. We're just working it on the side. In the meantime, though, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna do what we're doing and talk that bone. I want to shout out everybody that's tuned in right now, 52 of you on Facebook. Brand new is our Twitch, twitch.com/beyondtheharmony, and we are live on Facebook, facebook.com/beyondtheharmony, so you can tune in on any of those platforms. If you guys have not liked this video yet, we are working very hard to drive the analytics of this channel, so please make sure you give this video a like. This is my official call to action because we were told we got to do it. We got to give direction, so please give this a like and show us some love. We would really appreciate that. All your likes, all your comments, everything like that, I can't express enough how much they actually do really help the channel out. It blows my mind, but they really help drive traffic to the channel, and we want this channel to be as successful as possible. So in advance, we thank you for all of your support here tonight, and Thug Queen will be on very, very shortly.
Yeah, so also to help you out, I guess, a bit, Cecil, I know there's been a lot of excitement over some of these trailers you've been making.
Oh, yeah.
And could you just let people know, like, that it's a lot of effort?
Oh, my
This
God.
isn't something you could just, snap your fingers.
I know, dude. If you've seen any of the trailers that I've done, both K Chills, Capone, the new ones, 101, this Thug Queen one, the ones that are coming, they run 30 seconds to a minute, and they take me 3 to probably 6 hours to complete. I really put a lot of time and effort and love and work into them. They're really a piece of art to me, and I'm charged up. So if you guys are enjoying the trailers, definitely let me know in the chat, because I am putting so much time into them. I hope that they get you guys hyped and excited. So that's why I take that extra time to try to build excitement for these. If you're like, hey, we really don't give a fuck, whatever. But, Thug Queen, I think you're excited no matter what, but I was really hoping that 101 trailer, got people's fucking, blood flowing.
Yeah, and also I just want to give a shout out. We do have Skin and Bones in the building.
Skin and Bones.
Got some BTH alumni out there, and he's got some new project out there too. So check out Skin and Bones' Facebook. I think he's got a new music video and maybe even a new album. Go ahead, Skin. Let him know in the comments there, in the chat, what you got going. And Matt came out with the Bone news for June. Matt, you got anything you want to add to that or reflect on your news?
I think what I just want to point out is it wasn't my strongest one because I was on vacation for part of it, and so I was a little bit was June and a little, maybe even a little bit of early July put in there. But what I really want to point out is that is not even a drop in the bucket on all of the live performances that are coming.
I thought it was good, by the way. I thought your news was really good.
Yeah, I love anytime I look forward to the news. It's work that I didn't have to do, and it's so thorough, and it's everything that I didn't have time to look up. So yeah, much props to Matt, Mr. Weaver, on the Bone news. I hope you guys are enjoying that as well. Skin and Bones mentions that he's dropping some and mentioned Easter eggs about the graveyard shift. Okay. So check out Skin and Bones. He's got some new projects. He has some slick new white outfit on in the video. I was liking his gear. He was looking sharp. So props on that.
Speaking of gear, I don't know if anybody caught the Beyond the Podcast long sleeve tee that Mr. Lippy is wearing. But you can get that over at shop.beyondtheharmony.com or store.beyondtheharmony.com. We have all kinds of fire Beyond the Harmony merch.
And when we finally get 10,000 subs, we could have that real easy access at the bottom. So if you got some friends that should be subscribed to Beyond the Harmony, drop them the link, because I want to see those shirts at the bottom here. I get to see them on my channel One day we're gonna see these shirts at the bottom. It's just gonna look beautiful whenever we go live and whenever we have videos drop.
10K. If you're listening and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You subscribing means more than you can know. If you like this and you enjoy the content, please give us a subscribe as well. It would really, it helps us out a lot. Oh, shout out to Chaos Bone. He says, interview Mr. Criminal on Busy's Thug Revenge album. What made Busy make that album? I would love to interview him. I would. Doesn't get back to me, but I would.
Yeah, I seen Mr. Criminal on DJ Vlad recently, so I think Criminal might be a little above Beyond the Harmony at this point, but he's dope.
Nah, fuck
He's
that.
definitely
I interviewed Demiza, bro. I've interviewed Silky fucking Fine. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. But no, I would interview Mr. Criminal. I would. I think that'd be a fun interview, just because because he's like the high power, right? Like he's all those high power releases, or is that Mr. Capone or what? Who's high?
It's both, isn't it?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. I don't keep up on high power. High power is just like I'm like, oh, those are those guys that do all the other Bone albums. I think High Power has more fucking Bone releases than probably any other label.
Real Talk Entertainment has a lot, because when I did
maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Is it High Power? Who? Dude, they all.
I think you're talking about Real Talk.
Okay, maybe that's
quantity.
There was a High Power era, and
Brandon says that's Capone. Are those two? Are both of those guys affiliated with each of those, or someone clear it up for me? It always grabs and confuses the fuck out of me every time.
Yeah, I'm a little thrown off too, because that era, the whole High Power era, was when I was working 17 hours a day. So like I missed out on the whole 2003 to 2007 era of Bone. And that's why that's part that I'm most interested in, other than Faces of Death era. By the way, this is the Faces of Death logo, just in case I got to spell it out.
You don't think anybody caught that?
Hey, it's yeah. So he says, so Criminal and Capone.
Boss Beat says, Bone don't deal with High Power no more, or Real Talk, all in caps. Yeah, we know, bro. We know. We're talking about the past. We know.
I got a question for you, Cecil. Will there ever be another Bone Thug?
It's highly unlikely. It's very unlikely that there will ever be another Bone Thug. Most people disagree, though, with what I'm about to say, which is I do really believe that if we could really get behind Bloodline Harmony, we have something special there. It's not Bone Thugs, but I do think we have something special there. If we got behind it. So many people are just so mad at that group, I don't understand it, but I do think there's something special there with those young dudes if we got behind it.
By the way, apparently Bone is performing live right now in Arizona, according to Josh. So we're competing against Bone right now.
I thought they were at a fucking pool party, Matt. What the fuck is Bone doing?
Yep. So today from 12 to 5 at a undisclosed location in Tempe was a Wishbone pool party, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at nobody. I'm just because for my whole life, all I ever wished for was to do cannonballs with Wish. Doesn't mean that I'm mad. So that was from 12 to 5, and then that was at an undisclosed location, and then I forget the venue that they're at tonight. But they're not. It's 4:37 Pacific. So what is Arizona Central or? It can't be that. They're not on stage at 6:30 or 7:30 p.m.
Oh, no. There's 7 million fucking openers. Bone's probably not even there yet.
No. Duct Tape hasn't even gone on stage yet. So, yes, they are performing today, but we are not competing with them right now.
Oh, that's good news. That's good news. So I see now.
Unless they're performing by the pool, which is, to the best of my knowledge, that is not. That would have made it on the news.
I didn't know until I saw the Matt Weaver news that Silky Fine had a new album coming out called Wedding Cake. Do either of you guys know any additional details about that? Is there a?
I didn't even know until I tuned into Bone News Network with Matt Weaver. I knew nothing about it.
It's out. It's called Birthday Cake, and I put it on my Spotify list, but I haven't dove in. I've been on a sojourn since Sunday. I am going to become the authority on the Lazy Bone catalog, and
That's
I've gotten through the first 8 albums, and I have a lot to say and a lot I'm not going to say. Maybe even more I'm not going to say. But maybe by the next episode, I might have the crown for that.
Let me ask you this. Prior to you diving into his entire discography, was there how many of these Lazy albums do you think you had listened to prior to this endeavor?
Half. I would say that I own half the CDs. And I don't mean the duos with Outlaw or that kind of stuff, like the one with Do or Die, AK. None of those, but half the studio albums.
Is there one that has surprised you thus far that you didn't think was going to be where it's at, and it was?
Yeah, it's the it is like the 6th one, and it is the one that is what we were just making fun of. I'm pretty sure it's the high power one. I can look it up real quick, but the production is actually way better than the 2nd through the 6th one, and it is when the rash of recycles started, but and I don't count those, so like I don't count those as part of the album, but it is. I'm just bringing it up real quick. Thugs Nation. March 4th, 2008, High Power. Wow. So I would first, of course, Thug by Nature, but then after that I would go to Thugs Nation, and that's right before, and then there's a massive gap, which I think is when he might have been doing some of the duos. So that was 2008, and then the Definition and Meaning double thing was in 2011, and that's when I think Harmony House was invented. I think he may have timed that intentionally, so more to come on that.
Yeah, did you get to the Definition of Meaning yet, or that one's coming soon?
Yeah, that's next.
Okay, because that's the one I'm curious about. And I'm also curious to hear the Law of Attraction, because I've skipped through them and they sounded like they had really good production on them, and I just haven't had a chance to get through them all.
I haven't listened to a bunch of those. Let me just be honest. I've skimmed. Let me just say that I skim and or one time everything. I don't know if there's anything that I haven't either skimmed or given a one time. But it's kind of like when you read the first couple pages of a book, I'm like, if this doesn't grab me, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm out.
Yeah, one of the ones, actually it's a Busy album. I was excited to hear the Busy Badass album, but it sounded, and I think that was a High Power release as well, but it sounded like it wasn't mastered. Like it sounded that it was engineered, that it was mixed, but it like the sound level seemed low, and it wasn't like I went into it wanting to hear it, but then it just, I don't know, it didn't sound EQ'd correctly. Skin and Bone says Dre Ghost produced for Thug Nation and the one before it, and Dre Ghost keeps coming up, and I remember seeing that Dre Ghost in the that group Con Artists album cover as well.
I try to reach out to Dre Ghost. I'd like to interview him. He doesn't get back to me. So many of them don't get back to me. I just want to be friends with so many of these guys and just talk about fucking Bone. What's wrong with me? Skin and Bones, hook it up. Get Dre Ghost to come on here.
Yeah. So now, probably we should do a little thing on the book sponsor again. You want to let us know what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, we're currently sponsored by Hell's Good Guy, and you can check out Hell's Good Guy at linktr.ee/Hell's Good Guy. They sponsored this or last week's question of the week, and they are doing some additional sponsorships. If you checked out BNN, you'll be able to see that they have a little sponsorship in there as well. So, that's just like an example of someone helping the channel and us helping them in return. And you know, I think that's excellent opportunity all the way around. As far as Hell's Good Guy, it's a book. It's actually a book by a listener, and it's in its pre-order stages right now. So you can head over to linktr.ee/Hell's Good Guy, and you can pre-order. And don't forget to check out last week's question of the week. He actually sponsored that and proposed the question as well, which I actually thought was a really great question.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I had fun with that one.
Yeah, and I noticed also in your news segment that Position has a album coming out soon. I think it's called Faces, Changing Faces.
Yeah, it's out.
Are there any features on it? Any Crazy Bone features? Or did you get a chance to take a look at the track list?
I did, but it didn't. I can't recall now. He was on live one night last week, and I messaged him on there and asked about physical copies, and he said coming soon. So when I get my hands on one, I'll definitely buy one from him.
That's awesome. We got Kevin Starks in the building. He's the one that provided that Art of War discussion question of the week that came out, I think, this week. We converted the Art of War to one disc.
Oh, what a fucking headache. What a headache.
45-minute discussion. Half of it was us debating Tupac. But
I forgot I didn't put Tupac on mine.
Yeah, Matt didn't have Thug Love or Body Rot on the album.
On your list? Oh wow. I forgot that.
For like
I forgot that.
I think. So yeah, that's a whole question of the year. So if you haven't watched that one yet and you want to see 2-on-1 against me.
I was more ganging up on Cecil than you, man. So I hope you didn't take it too rough. No. But you had Let the Law In, but not Body Rot. So like that also was kind of like, all right, that different strokes.
And it might be because I've heard Body Rot and they've put it as the B-side on every single ever made. So
yeah,
but they like to do it live. It's good live.
Jordan Corey asked a funny question to Busy Bone. He asked Busy if he was going to do a husband and wife album. And he said, for sure. So take it for what it's worth. But she's been in the studio lately. Yeah, man. You know, that video was really, it looked good. I mean, other than it being like softcore porn, it was sharp, man. It was a real good looking music video that they had. So they should use that same video production staff that they used for that first one.
I think that's good for them as far as like, you know, like Jay-Z and Beyonce did one. I think that's like a good look for them. My question is that something like our fans, is that something that you would jump at? Do you want to hear Busy and his wife for a whole album? Would it blow your mind if this next album he's been talking about and he drops it and it's him and his wife? Christian wants to know where the Queen is. The Queen is getting ready. We are bringing her on very shortly.
Got Garcia Vega from the board. Yeah, the Queen will be here shortly. Y'all make sure you check out that Thug Queen playlist. There are some unique items on that playlist you guys may not be familiar with, and it's probably a good time to cover some of that right now. I'm pulling up the list right now. So most of you know Ghetto. Oh, am I still here? Most of you know Ghetto Cowboy. All right, that's the easy one. You guys know the Queen. You know Mighty Mighty Warrior. You know Other Side at the end of the Mo Thug album. You may even know Bud Smokers Only 2 and Where My Thug's At 2. You know Power. You know Armageddon. But what you might not know is there's a song called Only the Strong Survive, and that's with Con Artist and Lazy Bone. And the song is really good. It's probably the lead track off of that album. She also has like an intro on time travel. It's not really, I remember feeling disappointed because I was hoping she had a verse on it, but I never heard a verse. She kind of talks on it. And that's from the beginning and end album. Then I think it's Thug Queen, but it's uncredited to her. But if you ever heard the song It's On by Lazy Bone, it's on the It's Not a Game album. It sounds like Thug Queen. She's on at the very end. It says featuring MTF. So I don't know if that means Mo Thug Family or what that is.
I thought that was her. If that wasn't Somebody Make Me Hip, I thought it was.
Yeah, it just doesn't say her name on it. Like it just says featuring MTF, but not Thug Queen. But it sounds just like Thug Queen. She's got a song called Damn with Scamp Bone from the Four Seasons album. And then somewhere in the middle there, she came out with a solo track. It's called Get Your Hustle On. And, you know, that one just kind of came and went. I remember seeing it one day, hearing it, thinking, oh, man, Thug Queen's still around. That's great. And then finally, the most recent song I know of is the one with Cleve the Harmony God. I think it's called like Get High or something like that. So that's the Thug Queen playlist. I'm curious to know if any of those you didn't know about and if I missed any of them. So if you did, drop those in the chat if you know of any Thug Queen songs that I don't know about, that I didn't mention, that aren't in the playlist, because I want to hear them all. I think Thug Queen's a real interesting rapper to listen to. She's not like all the other female rappers. She's got a real unique style, storyline, and approach to stuff. So I really respect her as a lyricist, artist, rapper, all that.
Did it, you know, and I'm sure it was kind of like, just like, you know, a semi embellishment to just like represent how many, but it did blow your mind when she was talking about in the last interview, how many songs they were recording. She goes, we must have recorded 1 million songs. So I don't know if it's Relativity, Interscope, Sony, Crazy Bone, Lazy Bone. I don't know who's holding it, but somewhere there is a packed catalog of songs from, I would assume, 98, 99 of Thug Queen that we haven't heard.
Dude, Vernon Bates says she has a video too. And then SBC J Rate says she had a song, Get Money, or something like that. All right, I'm writing these down. Get Money. What was the music video for, Vernon? Because, man, how did I miss that? I definitely want to know that. And Cold Blooded, I did mention Where My Thug's At Part 2. And I mentioned Bud Smokers Only 2. And to answer, oh, there's a video for Bud Smokers Only 2? What about an album with Tech and Bone Thugs? So to answer your question, Cecil, from earlier, yeah, man, I'm definitely interested in the Busy Bone J. Kaz album, just because what could that possibly be?
Really?
You know, something new, different. And, you know, I'm always into the novelty, right? So, and I think J. Kaz is cool. Like I on the mic, like that song her and Busy did, it's a nice track. And if they got videos to go with it, you know, so long as it's kind of, you know, PG enough for me to play it in the house with my wife around, I'm cool to check it out.
I don't mind the, like, a one-off. You're talking an album?
Well, I think albums nowadays aren't 15 tracks though, right? Like,
I don't know. Did you hear the mantra? I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, but I think, see, that one was done by Blaze, right? So like Blaze is from the old school when you have, you know, full length albums. I don't even think J. Kaz would want to do. I don't know. I'm not speaking for them, but yeah, I'd still be interested. I'd be interested. How can you fill an entire album out? Because, yeah, I think Busy would want it to come correct. I think J. Kaz would want it to come correct, and maybe Jam would be on it, and hopefully it's PG so that when Jam gets older, he can look back on it and not say, "What did my parents have me do?" But yeah, I'm interested in that if that happens.
Just an update. I do believe that Thug Queen was stuck in mid-transit. So I think that's what our hold up right now is that she was stuck in transit. She was hoping to be at her location faster than she was. So last time I had talked to her, she said she was getting ready in a few. So I'm just waiting for her to hit us. So hopefully we'll have her in shortly. I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark. I wanted to let you know what was going on. So last time me and the Queen had spoke, she was in transit to wherever she was actually going to do the sit down portion of this. Kevin Stark says, "Nah, I don't need that album."
I also want to just so Boss Beats can feel like his boy Ray Murda got a shout out. We see you, Ray Murda. We'll look into it.
Ray's on my Ray's on my fucking Instagram. He's never reached out. You know what I'm saying? If Ray Murder's your boy and you think that he's really got something to lend, then you know, hit your man up and say, "Yo, you should go on Beyond the Harmony." Like the thing is like a lot of this is driven off people saying, "I want to be on." You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna tell you 100%. Like, I don't know enough about him for me to give you a feasible interview. Like, if you knew the amount of time that I pour into preparing an interview, setting up the questions, things like that. There's just not enough information on Ray or even some other guys. There's other guys that I have connection to right now that I would really love to talk to, but it's hard because there's not enough information out there. Eddie Johnson, I think that you're well behind in this. You're not live. I see Eddie saying trailers are awesome. That's from a while ago.
Also, Vernon Bates, we do have Night Riders discussion on the list for Thug Queen tonight, so we will cover that as well. And what else? Bonus grade. They saturate the market too much, Brandon says. Yeah, man, I think they put out an album per quarter. Like if you do the average, it's like once per quarter somebody drops. Usually it's a solo album, but at least they're giving you something. See, and that's the other part too. Is Bone fans are never satisfied. They always want more, and then they get they get an album per quarter. There's no other group that I know of that does that for the fans. So this quarter you get Fleshbone, next quarter you get Lazy Bone, then you get a Busy Bone album, then you get a Crazy Bone mixtape, fix tape, quick fix. One of them is always dropping. You have 4 to 5 members. Wish doesn't really drop albums, but 4 members, 4 quarters in a year. Usually one of them drops one thing per year. So they may not come out with a group album per year, but collectively you get 4 solo albums, which is pretty nice.
Are we getting a Havoc interview this season? You'd have to talk to Havoc. I've thrown it out to a few members. That they're welcome to come on the show. Hey, this is like volleyball. All I can do is set the ball for the person I invited to spike that motherfucker. So if I set that motherfucker in the air and no one spikes it, there's nothing I can do. As always, I think that the most powerful thing is to have the fans tell them we want to hear you. Because they don't really care if I want to have them on. They care if you guys want to have them on. Have you guys ever had contact with anyone from Aftermath? Yeah, I have a little bit. Just a little bit.
I think I know the answer, but I would love to hear from both of you.
Neff says Thug Queen was also featured on Crazy Bones' album on Power and Smoke and Burn. She's definitely on Power. She is not on Smoke and Burn, my brother. Sorry, Matt.
Flesh's new song, "Take Me Out the Game."
Woo! Yeah. Okay. What do you want to know?
So, have you heard it, or have you heard it more than you've heard me talk about it? Which one have you heard more? I can't shut up.
I've heard it quite a few times. I listened to it at the gym. I've seen the video a bunch of times. The video's pretty good. The little skit at the beginning is, that's on the fence. But, the video's pretty good. The song is outstanding. I like the video more than the, what was the one right before this? Which was also really good.
Dedication. Yeah,
I really like that too, minus the green screen shots. Those were kind of corny to me. But, hey, if those are both from an upcoming Flesh project, then I'm going to triple down on me saying Flesh is absolutely my favorite member currently. He's fucking killing it.
So I think my prediction, I haven't brought this up to either of you yet, that I'm going to throw out there that Raiden Rush Flesh and Bone is the new Blaze Busy Bone.
Oh.
Because I think it's the formula of them two guys together that brought us Take Me Out the Game for sure.
I'll say this. I talked to Martyr Music this week and Andre the Giant this week, and they both said that they are loving what Fleshbone's been doing lately, including the entire Do You album, and they're just like, Fleshbone is killing it. And I think for Cecil, Flesh is, currently your favorite guy right now, right? Is he the one you're most looking forward to each day at the moment?
Probably since I would say the Do You era, he's been leading it for me. Even though the Do You project wasn't quote unquote bone shit the way I feel like his most recent songs, I'm like, this is bone shit right here. Like this is like flesh and bone shit. Even though I felt like Do You wasn't necessarily that, even that like had me very interested. I was really excited about everything that he was doing, the videos, the songs, you know, all of that. And so now with the most recent, and not just that, but even like all the funny shit that he was doing, Andy Dick and you know, all that kind of stuff, like everything he was doing, I was really enjoying. So, you know, he's been kind of number one on my radar for a little bit now.
Yeah, and Kevin Starks brought up that interview, that 6-part or whatever part interview that he did. Matt brought it up in the news as well, where Flesh talked about how his verses were getting removed from the Eternal album. And you know, that kind of tied into, I forgot what video we did where I was mentioning that track list that said that Land of the Heartless, that there was a version where Fleshbone had a verse on it. And, you know, before when I brought that up, that seemed preposterous. But then like right after that, Flesh did the interview. He's like, yeah, man, I got cut off a bunch of tracks. He didn't specifically say Land of the Heartless, but it, you know, it at least kind of brought a little bit of credence to that potential rumor that he actually might have been on Land of the Heartless. So that's pretty amazing.
It's it makes you kind of ponder who exactly at Ruthless it was. My assumption would be, because again, he wasn't signed. Okay, I know he said in that interview he had a contract, but he wasn't actually signed. So my guess would be Tamika, because they were probably paying him per song at that point, and they didn't want to pay out per song. Everyone's saying he said he was on every song, the entire Eternal album. Okay, calm down. Put your fucking, no, I love cats. Put your fucking riot gear away, motherfuckers.
No, keep them going, man.
Jesus
I love
Christ. God.
I love it.
As long as it's not mixed.
Hey,
half cap, half lowercase.
Oh no, that just happened.
I'll close the chat if you guys do that.
Hey, no, I would have loved to heard Flesh on the. There's no point I don't want to hear him, especially during Eternal. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's a point where like his style changed and stuff, and you know, people were not feeling him as much at that point. But certainly during Eternal, it's like he would have done nothing but compliment the entire album, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Corey, somebody brought up, because it's already scrolled past, that there was the fan-made Flesh documentary, and yeah, the guy that made that video, he's got a couple other Bone videos on his channel. I watched 2 of them, and they all had information that I didn't know. I mean, some of the stuff I knew, but there was like tidbits that I had never known. So I forgot his name, but just look up the Flesh and Bone documentary. He made that. And he made a couple other Bone videos, and they're all pretty good.
Kevin says that was before the Tamika era. Eternal? Are you?
Well, maybe, yeah. Because I mean,
I think she had the final say on that, right? I mean, she wasn't cutting it. You're saying she wasn't cutting that down? Well, okay. This is what we'll say. No matter who it was, if it wasn't Tamika, we would have to say that it was somebody in that position. Kevin says Jeff was still in power. I would say that you want to believe that it wasn't Bone, right? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't Bone saying, yeah, take him off that. So you gotta assume that it was someone in power at Ruthless saying we're not trying to pay, you know, per song, per feature.
Yeah. So, all right. Another thing on Flesh is I did see the video as well, and the acting parts. I'm curious about if the video production crew and the casting agency crew was the same as it was for AC Killer's Warriors Part 1 and Part 2, because it looked like the same kind of like B film acting and B film actors. And I'm saying that in the sense that it had like the same kind of production style. Although I did like in the AC Killer videos that they have that sound, not sound effect, but part of the instrumental, that intro. I love that sound effect. But there's a charm to be movie acting. I don't know if you guys have it, but I enjoy it.
I love that stuff. It might be John, but what I think it's more closely related to, and it still could be the same, is his single from before the rap from Do You. Remember that one with the really long crime story, like action with the masks, right? Right, the glow masks that they stole from me. It and one of the actors may have. I felt like one of the bad guys looked familiar to me, so it may have been one of the same people. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Boss Beat says, you guys are great. Ruthless paid him under the table. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was under the table. I mean, he was, he would have been signed with Def Jam at that point. Maybe that was right before he signed with Def Jam. I guess Eternal would have been right before he signed with Def Jam. Maybe they were negotiating that deal because that would have been Gary. That would have been Gary doing that. So maybe it was during Eternal. I don't think it was under the table. Maybe though. Maybe they were just sliding him a little money. I've always wanted to know, does anybody have a real answer why besides he just wasn't at the photo shoot? Does anybody have a real answer why Flesh and Bone's face is so big on Creeping on a Come Up? No? Nobody? Got nothing?
It was artistic choice, Cecil. You know that.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if that's true. It's just fucking building sized face. Y'all
larger than life.
Y'all heard from Spanish Bone recently as he signed to BT&H Records. I don't think he signed to BT&H Records. Maybe. I haven't seen anything. Yeah, Jerry Heller said they could have dropped Eternal, played it safe, and dropped Creeping on the Come Up as an EP. My guess is there was an earlier version. Tamika wasn't calling the shots on Eternal. Easy oversaw the project. But nah, that's not fucking true. There's an interview with Crazy Bones saying that Easy only heard the beginning stages of Eternal, that he was in the hospital. So that part is not true, brother. I bet it was an Easy thing, beat down by the popo, maybe a little jail time. I don't know. Yeah, I assume that, he just wasn't available or whatever, but I've always thought that superimposing his head all giant on a building like that. I mean, hey, it makes Creeping on a Come Up super memorable, but it's weird to me regardless.
Yeah.
It's weird to me regardless.
You guys think things through on a level that I don't exist on. Like, I just take it for what it is and say, man, that's Creeping on a Come Up. I love it. I'm going to listen to it again and just look at the cover. I don't dissect it like that.
I got it. Well, I do. I make artwork as well. You know what I mean?
That's true. Right.
So I look at those things and I'm really like, I wonder why. What's going on? Eazy was supposed to be on Mr. Bill Collector. Correct. He sure was. And in the same interview I was just talking about with Crazy Bone, they were talking about how when they hadn't heard from him, they got upset, and they, meaning Bone, they personally removed Eazy from the song. And so unfortunate. If you've heard those clips, man, the little clip I've heard of Eazy-E's verse on there is phenomenal. Like, I'm like, man, this would have been so fucking good. This would have been so good. I assume you guys have both heard those clips. John, you got no audio. That's why I was like, I wonder why John's not popping in. I got no audio from you, Johnny.
I remember hearing it like when it maybe first leaked, but I honestly couldn't remember where I was when I heard it or what I thought about it. So I guess I should try to go find that again. Is that something that I can find on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on there. I think there's a version I have that I think is no longer on YouTube that I'll send you as well. Eddie Johnson, question for Thug Queen. Has she reached out to Too True about doing a track or maybe a joint mixtape? That'll be dope. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about that. So hopefully we get her in here shortly. I don't know if she's still stuck in transit or what, but a lot of people have been asking about her and Too True. That's one of these things that I'm curious about, because by the time if you guys remember from the Jazz interview, by the time Thug Queen kind of came in the picture, Too True was kind of like working on their way out. So you got to question if there was any crossover there at that point at all, if they had crossover. So that's definitely something that when we get her on here, we're going to have to ask about. John,
Julian,
still nothing from you, Johnny?
Say something, John.
No.
He's frozen on mine. Julian says they said Eazy-E took that pic of Flesh. Flesh had been roughed up by the police. Julian, I remember seeing in several places, I feel like I read it in an article, that Eazy-E was almost like into like photography a little bit, and then he oftentimes did have a camera like around his neck, like a real camera. Well, back
the
then,
recording has
cameras.
stopped.
Oh, that's John checking out right there.
John's Zoom crashed, so
yeah, we'll get him back in. I think I got messages from John. Yeah, he said I got kicked the fuck out. Let's get him in.
Neff, we've talked about Resurrection in depth. We have a video. I think it's a best, most important, favorite, and worst style video for that.
For which one?
Resurrection.
Oh, for Resurrection? Yeah, there's one up there. Were you part of that one with us?
I feel like I did, because I feel like we had really differing, overarching opinions on it.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. You must be on your headset mic though, because
yeah. When this happened last time with 101, if I tried switching back to the other mic, it would keep crashing me out. So tonight's all about Thug Queen. It ain't about John Lippy. So I'm here. I hope this Jabra is good enough for the show.
Yeah. It
it
sounds like shit, but that's all right. At least we got you. It makes me think of season 1. Okay, it makes me think of season 1.
Memories. So earlier at one point, I was trying to tap in a couple times. I just wanted to bring up that Skin and Bones was pointing out that Speaking in Tongues was supposed to have a sequel album, which I think that's kind of interesting. Although, like in ways, I always thought Thug's Revenge or the Midwest Cowboy was kind of the sequel.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that's what it was. So if you know anything, Skin and Bones, correct the Johnny Boy on what the sequel to Speaking in Tongues was supposed to be. And did I bring it up last time? I was watching, because you guys were talking about Eazy-E before I got dropped off. There's somebody put together all of the cameo appearances that Eazy-E did into 2 parts. So there's like a part 1 and a part 2. And it's really good. I saw things that I didn't know about. So one of them was the guy that played the flute. Did I bring that up to you last time?
I don't think so.
Jimmy Z. There was a music video. It was Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, and Jimmy Z.
Oh, he played the saxophone.
Played the saxophone, and he played the. I think.
He probably played more than that, but I just know that was like his big thing. He played that saxophone.
Yeah, and so Dr. Dre produced the entire Jimmy Z album.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if anybody's a Dr. Dre fanatic out there for like early Ruthless era, but Dre's the producer of the Jimmy Z album. Now Jimmy Z's got a couple albums, right? But the one that was on Ruthless, it's the one that Dr. Dre is featured in the music video. There's a music video with Dre, Eazy-E, and Jimmy Z. So that's interesting. Like I never seen it until I was watching those cameos. Somebody found all these cameos that Eazy-E was in, and I forget the guy's name. He's the guy that's always on Vlad, not Gianni Russo, but the other guy that's always on Vlad, where he just happened to be everywhere where every significant moment in hip hop happened. Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
No.
I forget his name. I keep wanting to say Kirk Franklin, but it's not Kirk Franklin.
Yeah.
He's a comedian, and anyway, the funniest thing about it is, so he tells Vlad all the stories about like how he was everywhere, and in the music video for the DOC Funky Enough, which was like the first DOC music video, so we're talking like '88. He's in the video, and when I remember his name, I'll let
Trio
you guys know,
said T.K. Kirkland.
T.K. Kirkland. T.K. Kirkland is in the It's Funky Enough music video, standing right next to Eazy-E, and it's just the funny part about it is it legitimizes what TK Kirkland was saying. He's actually in the DOC Funky Enough video. So props to TK Kirkland for somehow being everywhere all at once. And and by the way, Dr. Dre, not only is he on that song with Jimmy Z, but he's on 2 other tracks on that Jimmy Z album. So it's pretty bizarre to hear. That's all I got to say on that.
Just going back real quick to Jimmy Z, if there's a couple really cool articles about Jimmy, and it's on ztribe.com, which I guess was like his band. So if you search Jimmy Z Ruthless Records, you'll see a link for one that goes to ztribe.com/tag/ruthless-records, and there's 2 really good articles, including one of them is like a scan of his Ruthless Records release, and it's just a really good read if you read it and you get the opportunity to see what the release looked like. There's a pretty funny picture of him and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre's in like a mariachi band fucking hat with Jimmy Z. So if you want a really interesting read that's kind of fun, search Jimmy Z Ruthless Records and look for that ztribe.com link. It's pretty good.
When I got dropped off, did you guys find out if the DNA level C that I see in the chat there is the DNA level C from the website from back in the day?
I don't know. That would be amazing. That would be incredible.
Shout out to DNA level C. Are you the webmaster from DNA level C from way back?
That would be crazy. If they were, I would fucking bring them on the show.
That their statement, like their intro statement, is the beginning and the end is underrated.
Yeah, and also I see Jordan Corey brings up Terry B, and yeah, Terry B's always been the mystery to me. I mean, I seen her music videos, NWA's in the videos, but she kept making songs. Like she's like in a rock band now. She does like rock music, and think about. I don't know, Matt, if you know who Terry B is, but if you go back and watch her, I think it was called Murder, She Wrote was the name of the album. She was hanging with NWA back in '88, and her rap style for the '88 rap style, it was pretty much on point with all the other rappers out there. So she was like one of the first females of rap. I mean, in the of Ruthless Records. Obviously, Real Roxanne and other rappers were out before her, but she deserves a place in hip hop history for hanging with
Skin and Bone. Says
notorious rap group.
Flesh and Bone was an extension at that time, a one-off. Fifth Dog, think Capadonna, and that's why his face is so big on Creepin'. I got to disagree with you because if you've listened to his most recent interview, he pretty much declines and denies that process of thinking. So in his most recent interview, that thought process of he's the fifth dog, he was like the unofficial Capadonna member, he completely shot that to fuck in this most recent interview he did.
Yeah, but on Everyday Thing, doesn't he say that he's forever the fifth dog?
I mean, he's the fifth member, but like we've always kind of treated him like it's these four and Flesh and Bone. And in this interview, it was like, dog, I've always been Bone Thugs and Harmony. So, take it for what it's worth.
And yes, to Vernon Bates, Bone is on a intro with HWA. And after we did the thing with Silky Fine, I didn't realize there was 3 acronym female groups. There was HWA, BWP, that's Bitches with Problems, and G, Gangsta Bitch Mentality, GBM, and that's the one with Silky Fine. So out of Ruthless came 3 groups that tried to take off out of NWA, like the female NWA version. And what was the thing that DNA Level C brought up that Matt brought up? He was saying, Matt, do you remember what it was? The beginning and the end being underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my take on beginning and the end is I made a video on it. Alpha and Omega beginning and the end came out. I wish that the track listings were rearranged so that one of the albums was all 7 sign artists. So there would have been like a 7 sign album, like all the songs.
Oh yeah. I remember when you did this.
Yeah. Half of Alpha and Omega has features from 7 sign artists and half of beginning and the end has features from 7 sign artists. And so I rearranged the track listings to make it one full 7 sign album so that they would have had an album just like Mo Thugs had an album, so that we would understand Seven Sign much better. And then also for me, like sometimes I just want to hear a Busy album. Like I love The Gift because it's just Busy front to back, and that would make Alpha and Omega like an all the way Busy album, and the beginning and the end all the way Seven Sign. And I felt like the beginning and the end was like half. I don't know if they sounded like two different eras combined into one. So half of them sounded like they came from Alpha and Omega era, and the other half sounded like it was a mix between Heaven's Movie, The Gift, and like around the time the Mo Thugs albums came out. So like the lack of consistency kind of threw me off, but it seemed to have better tracks, I guess, because it was the era of Busy before Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega is where Busy's style kind of started to change into the new style that we have. And so Alpha and Omega is all new stuff, except I understand it sounded like the old Busy, and the rest of the album sounded like the new Busy, and then beginning and the end was half and half. So, but yeah, it's a cool album, and I do think it's slept on, and it is underrated.
I just want to update you. I haven't heard anything from Thug Queen here in a little bit. I hope everything's okay. She was kind of said she was really stuck up in I assume traffic. She said she was stuck in transit, and that she was gonna get at me as soon as she landed. She said that it would she didn't use the word landed. I don't think she's in a fucking plane. But as soon as she got to her location, that she'd be set to come on. So hopefully everything is good there. I'm gonna continue to contact her, but you know, I want to be completely transparent with the fans. But I am working in the background here. We had talked earlier today about her coming on. This is one of those things that when we said we were going to do the season live, this motherfucker Matt, this is the first thing he said to me was, "What are you going to do if somebody just doesn't show up?" I was like, I didn't think about that. I didn't fucking put that into my brain.
You gonna cancel on me?
I think in all our time doing this, I think we've only had a rare amount of misses, which is amazing if you think about it. The amount of interviews that we've done.
I think Skin and Bones' feed is like behind because like some of the stuff he comments on is stuff from a while back.
Yeah, I noticed a few people. I think they tune in late and they got to go down. And if you click live, if you down by like your play, your pause, your volume and all that, there's live. And if there's not a little red dot next to your live, that means you're behind. You got to click that live and you'll see that the red dot will get there and then you'll be caught up. So there's a couple people. I think Eddie Johnson was another one that looked like he was really behind, which is fine. Hey, maybe you're watching it from the beginning. You know, I don't know. But if you want to be caught up, click that live.
And Vernon Bates pointed out that Seven Sign does have several full mixtapes. Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying, like, the way that Mo Thugs kind of came out, because I didn't find those Seven Sign mixtapes till later on. Like, I didn't hear those. I didn't even know they existed till like maybe 6 years ago. So
Josh, who I also think is a little behind, said Easy took the picture, which we've heard a couple people say. I think I had heard that before. And Flesh said it was Eric's idea to have his picture on the cover. Flesh said Eric saw Flesh as the spirit of the group and a big brother role. He said all of this in the new interview. That's interesting. That's an interesting. That's even if that's like what it is, like it's weird as fuck to me. I'm gonna just be a million. That's still fucking weird as fuck. Like Flesh is just a big giant head. It's still weird to me. But hey, whatever. I think the idea behind that is really cool.
It made it iconic and memorable. Wasn't there a group? Was it the Game or his group or somebody did like a imitation of that cover?
I don't know.
I think you had brought it up to one of the artists that we were.
I've seen a few. No, is that no? I think I've seen a couple Eternal. I've seen a couple Eternal ones that are like remakes or whatever.
I seen Cold Blooded bring up Book of Brian. Did anything like that ever come out? Because I thought that's what Alpha and Omega was going to be titled, and then it was titled Alpha and Omega and not Book of Brian, but did like a fake mixtape called Book of Brian ever come out? Because if that's so, I had never heard that. I completely missed that altogether, and I'd like to get a link to that. Also, somebody earlier today pointed out that there's a Bud Smokers Only music video. I've never seen. Do you think that they got Buddha Lovers confused with Bud Smokers Only? Because there is a Buddha Lovers video. I've never seen a Bud Smokers Only video.
Yeah, me either. There's things like that people say that I'm like, I think this is fan lure. This is I'm
like the Mo Murder. That there's a
Mo Murder video,
Mo Murder music video out there.
We will it into existence.
Cold-Blooded said, I think there's a lot of videos. There was a contest. There definitely was a contest where like fans got to vote on 3 or 4 videos or something and which one they wanted. And I think that Buddha Lovers was a choice, but if I remember correctly, it's not what won. So I guess the fan theory is they recorded videos. They recorded they recorded videos for each option. Kind of like, I guess they print Super Bowl shirts for both teams. Somewhere in a foreign country there's a Bud Smokers Only video.
Okay,
I bet Super Sacco has it.
Oh, Super Sacco. There's a fucking guy I've tried to get on too.
So Vernon Bates says he believes the Book of Brian turned out to be the beginning and the end, possibly. Although, I mean, that title, beginning and the end, fits with Alpha and Omega together, and they came out a month apart. So I always wondered if anybody out there knows how that all happened, where you had the official big release of Alpha and Omega, and then a month later, beginning and the end comes out. I guess that was the internet release. And Busy was always kind of like tinkering with internet technology. He was one of the first ones to have his own website and even, push the internet before the average audience knew how to type www.awebsite.com. Like that was impossible until like smartphones came out for the average person. And so you think he was just testing out, kind of like DJ Unique was testing out internet sales. So in a way, Busy should go out there and try to say that he was doing direct to consumer before Dame Dash, because Dame likes to claim that he's the original direct to consumer guy, but Busy was doing it in 2004. So Busy's team or him or somebody was on cutting edge of trying to hit the internet, I think, before the internet was ready. And there's some cool, hard to find albums like Beginning and the End for the fans. Somebody earlier, this is a Flesh album, brought up Cleveland to Cali volumes 1 and 2. Cecil, do you have either of those, or Matt, do either of you have either of the Cleveland to Cali albums by Flesh and his crew?
I have MP3s of them both. As a collector, even though they're very rare, I've had no ambition at all to own one. If one ever came across, then I got the chance to buy one cheapy, I would do it. But
do you know what the going rate is for it right now? Because I heard it's like supremely expensive. Andre the Giant's been trying to acquire a copy.
I think it's up there. I mean, I have no idea because I never inquire about it. But I mean, I do think it's up there. I mean, I'm sure it's above $100. I'm sure it's probably 150 plus based on its rarity. Even though I could give a fuck less about it. The MP3s themselves, like, that piece. I mean, I don't hate them. I enjoy it. It's, it's pretty, especially for the time. The thing that got me was, I think it's like Flesh and Bone Presents or something like that, and he's on like, a bunch of the songs. But like besides that, it at that time it didn't grab me like this is a Bone album or like an affiliate album. Maybe that was like the beginning steps of, I think at that time, what was Fleshbone Incorporated, which, we now know as Fleshbone Global. So maybe that was the beginning steps of that. But yeah, it just never grabbed me like, oh, this is some Bone shit. So I never went out of my way for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
also,
that's kind of I feel like I heard it when it came out, but I must have just downloaded it or something because I know I don't have it and I don't remember anything about it at all.
I just remember it being like it was like a lot of other artists than just Flesh. So I think it's not just a Flesh solo, right? It's like Flesh and his crew.
Right,
It's like a
right. That's what I'm
compilation.
saying. It's a compilation. It makes you feel, like Mo Thuggish. Like I think Aftermath was on it. So it feels like I said, the beginning of that, Flesh Bone Incorporated, Flesh Bone Global kind of thing. But it didn't. I don't know, man. Like I remember at that time seeing it. First of all, like I remember seeing the artwork, and it was just like the map and that fucking TNT and all that, which I know they were playing on like the name of whatever the label that released it or whatever, but the art didn't grab me. A bunch of the songs didn't like grab me. I'm talking at that time. I'm sure if I went and listened to it with fresh ears and at this era, I would like be in love with a ton of the songs because they'd have that older feel to them. But I just remember like it didn't grab me like that. That's all I'm saying for me. And from a collecting standpoint, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and on another topic, I see that hopefully this will help Dub Z TV. Dub Z TV says he would like Bone to do an East 99 style album with that original Bone style language. And here's what cured me of that, because I used to want that too, just like every other Bone fan wants that. But then I discovered the Graveyard Soldiers album, not Graveyard Shift, but the Graveyard Soldiers. And they are by far the best Bone clones I've ever heard. And once you endure the entire album, it should cleanse you, because really it's kind of like seeing Star Wars Episode 7. You just want to experience Han Solo and Chewbacca again. And then once you get that, you're like over it. You're like, all right, I got it. This is all I wanted. You hear that Graveyard Soldiers album, you'll get the East 99 style, and it's almost like a parody. It's done so well that I hope it'll clear that need. And then afterwards, listen to Eternal front to back, and then put on New Waves and hear the difference of the future of the engineering. Now, I'm not saying New Waves is better than Eternal, but I'm saying even Strength and Loyalty, even The World's Enemy, like the levels of the audio are just so much more in the future with the times, with the new technology, that Eternal sound, it's like hard to listen to Eternal and Strength and Loyalty tracks back to back because of the recording. It's not even the fault of Unique or whoever did the mastering. It's just the technology that exists. So try that out. Dr. Von Lippa over here says, take some Graveyard Soldiers and see if it cures you of your desire for that East 99 style. And if you do get cured of it, you'll be able to appreciate the next 25 years of Bone music that's come out. That's what I did. It worked for me. And not only am I a client, but I'm also the president the other way around.
Nice.
Hair Cliff man. So yeah. That's my take on that. And somebody brought up Double R. I think Double R was Busy's manager for a while and had a album come out, and I guess they parted ways. Skin and Bones could probably answer that question for you guys. He is the 7 sign master. Oh, and Cold Blooded brought up that there's a Flesh Bone Spice One song. I didn't know about that. I knew there was a Lazy Bone Spice One song, or was it Crazy? It was either Lazy or Crazy did a song with Spice One, but I didn't know Flesh Bone did one. Did you guys know that?
Yeah. I have that somewhere in my collection. It's like AK or something. I think it's from that, right? It's from the Cleveland to Cali album. And it's like AK something. Cold Blooded, AK Spray. There you go. AK Spray. Yeah. I'm not surprised you haven't heard it because it's from that,
Yeah. So Spice One has done stuff with 3 Bone members now that I know of. So he did that one with Spice One that I missed. I think the music video he did was with Lazy Bone. And then I seen Crazy Bone interview Spice One in like this big room. It was like a radio station, but like it was like cubicles. I don't know if you guys ever seen that interview.
Yeah,
but it was
the Truth Talks.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Truth Talks, because it felt like Crazy was a guest on someone else's show, but it felt like Crazy was interviewing Spice One, and Crazy was giving his flowers to Spice One, and it was kind of neat to see Crazy fawn over one of his idols. And before Bone, I was a big fan of Spice One. In fact, Sing the Blues from the America's Nightmare album when that came out, they came out like the same week as Creeping on a Come Up. And I remember thinking, like, how did Spice One know about this style? Because like Bone just hit the scene, and I was in my mind trying to figure out, like, did Spice One rush back into the studio and said, hold the CD, I got to record a song like the Bone style. And somehow like they came out simultaneous. So if you haven't heard Spice One sing the blues from the America's Nightmare album, it's not the same as Bone, but if you think back to the time period and you look at that copyright date, you'll wonder, like, how did Spice One know? How did he fit that on the album?
Neff in the chat. Have y'all spoke on the Band-Aid Boys? If not, what do you think? If so, sorry I missed. I'm new to the channel. First, let me just welcome you to Beyond the Harmony, Neff. Second, let me just direct you to Beyond the Harmony Season 1, where basically all we fucking do is talk about the Band-Aid Boys and Bone Enterprises and Faces of Death. One of our early interviews is with K Chill, a member of the Band-Aid Boys. So if you're new to the channel and you love that Faces of Death pre-Bone Thugs era, most of Season 1, probably 70% of Season 1 is for you. That era of Bone is actually why this channel got created. I never thought that this channel would honestly move past that. In fact, in Season 1, if we would have had a Bone member on, I bet it would have blown their mind when all we did was talk about fucking Faces of Death. Could you imagine having like Lazy Bone on and being like, so when you guys were writing Def Dick, like, what? Tell me the story about you writing Def Dick. Like,
I'm so glad I wasn't on there. I would have just laughed and not. I wouldn't have been able to hold it together, man.
Oh man, yeah, but no, Neff, we have talked about it extensively. Okay. This is what I'll tell you, bro. It sounds like there's a little mystery left there for you in the Band-Aid Boys and Bone Enterprise and all that. And if you like the mystery, if you don't want to find out that Santa Claus is really your parents and your dad eats the cookies, if you don't want to find that shit out, don't go watching Season 1, bro. Because we take all the fucking fun and mystery out of that for you. So if you don't want the illusion ruined, don't fuck around with Season 1. But if you want to know more, definitely, I absolutely encourage you to check out Season 1.
So here's a cool concept or topic: is name songs that you feel represent or come close to the East 99 style that came out after the year, I guess, once Bone abandoned. When would you say Bone abandoned the style? Because I think they abandoned it on Art of War.
What style?
The eternal East 99 style.
Yeah, Art of War.
Yeah. So what songs that came out after Eternal do you feel rekindle? I won't say recapture, but rekindle some of the Eternal feel. I'll give you some that I thought of because I seen like it's being talked about. So Cold Blooded said that he thought My Way off of New Waves kind of rep that old Bone style, and I know that My Way for like Ty Wise, he felt like that was the only Bone song on the album. I think that's what he said. He either said it was or it was like the word. I think he pointed out My Way to him was like the only Bone song on the album. But I remember when Intro came out from Thug Stories, that I thought, even back then, even in 06, people were saying like, man, Bone's got to get back to that East 99 style. And when I heard Intro, I thought, finally people could stop bitching. They finally have something that feels along the lines of Thuggish Ruggish Bone, at least lyrically. But it never blew up. Like I feel like we talk about Intro a lot, but I never see the Bone fans like saying, hey man, remember when that Intro came out on Thug Stories? That was fire. I think that one is probably the best example of it. I think The Land on it's by Kane featuring Bone. If you never heard The Land, I don't know if it's the East 99 style, but it's the Bone style that I'm looking for. Like I think that song is dope front to back, and Kane brings the heat, and he hangs with Bone real good on that one. I'll leave the next one for Cecil to talk on, so I'm going to skip that one. And actually, the next two. So the next two I was going to mention, I'll leave this one to you, Cecil. I know you like both of these tracks, Facts Don't Lie and Lord. Do you feel like those represented the Eternal style? Not exactly, but kind of rekindle it?
I'm not going to say that they represent the Eternal style. I'll just say that I think that they were the closest thing to, at that time, or those times, quote unquote, modern Bone that represented the old style. I'm not going to say those are eternal necessarily, because they don't feel eternal to me. But they definitely feel like an ode to what it was. Like, I think that if Facts Don't Lie and Lord, and even like the new Mercules song, I think if songs like that were made on an album, that fans would be, they would be very happy. Or maybe not. Maybe they'd get all those songs and say, this isn't fucking eternal. But I think that type of song is the closest that we get to eternal. And I think if we got an album of that, people would be very happy.
Some other ones that I thought of, and I guess going back to the Eternal style, that might be a little bit too much to ask, but I guess recapturing that Bone feel, right? So I think that's where I was thinking of it with the Land song. And then some of the ones that people brought up is Just Vibe. And I could see that there. Like, I felt like Just Vibe when I heard that. I was like, all right, that's a cool one. Pump, maybe. All Original, I felt like that was a real Art of War type song, not really eternal. Dummy Man, kind of. Into the Future. Into the Future is an interesting selection, because I remember when that one dropped, like, people rallied behind that song, even though it never released, right? But everyone loved Into the Future. And I always, and same with The Game Ain't Ready. Like, I felt like fans wanted that to be on Unify of the World's Enemy, and when it wasn't, like, I felt like that was one of the things that really threw people off, saying like, man, what the heck? And then, Still No Surrender. Jordan Corey says Still No Surrender. That, I always felt like that one reminded me of the old Bone style too. Yeah, and I used to play that. That was one of my favorites on that album. I thought the one with Don Jaguar, was that the guy's name on World War III? The guy's name.
Is that Rome in Your Zone or Murder on You? Or
Yeah, Murder on You. That one.
Yeah.
I thought that one, at least if that's not East 99 style, I felt like that one was that DJ Unique ghetto street pharmacist era. Like, that was kind of like that. Like, when I hear that song, I think of that era when that album came out, which is still like in the 90s. And yeah, so you and somebody said Mind on My Money. I don't know. You guys got any other ones?
I think one point that no one, well, I've got a couple points, but one that no one made is, if you think of Days of Our Lives, if you consider that eternal, I don't know if you do or not, but if you take that, and then if you take LKBWF from, I call that a unified cut. You can call that whatever you want it.
Yeah.
And if you talk about the speed and the back and forth and how it all blends together, they were obviously all there when they made it. I think that there's, a lot there as far as comparison goes. I don't know if anyone would. And if you talk about the 1999 though, but I think the most important point, if we're really going to have a discussion and dissect it, is that a lot of the songs that people are naming, as far as Lord or Homicide with Mercules or The Land with Kane, is these are all songs that the group is featured on.
All right. Let's see. I just got an Instagram from Thug Queen right now. It's not good, fellas. The guys in Beyond the Harmony haven't even heard this yet. This literally just came in. She said that I'm going to have to reschedule. I've been pulled over by the police, and she sent me a police emoji. I wonder if this is from all those armed robberies in those 4 counties that she did. But all jokes aside, she's still messaging me right now. I think that this is like currently her current situation. So that's unfortunate. Let's put crowns in the chat and good thoughts for her that everything is good and everyone is safe in that situation. She just said, what's that say? Let's work a reschedule. It wasn't typed that way, but I think it says let's work a reschedule. So it looks like maybe she's in a tough situation. I just sent a follow-up message that said, let me know if we can get you snuck in even for a couple minutes here just to say hi to the fans. So hopefully she gets out of this and she can at least jump in and say hello. But that's your update. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for me. Just know I got like 70 Thug Queen questions queued the fuck up and ready to go right now. 70. I worked on them all night. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Cecil West.
It did. Yeah, that's rough. Did any of you guys in the chat get to see the 25-minute interview that we did with Thug Queen from taken out of the 8-hour, 9-hour marathon that we did, which also featured guest appearances from Skin and Bones and Cold Blooded, but specifically the Thug Queen 25-minute interview, because that was pretty solid. Like there was a lot of new information in there. So I'm just curious to know if you guys all saw that.
It was like the highest rated cutout of that
The whole 9-hour.
Yeah. When we broke them all down and we cut them all down, that was like the most watched. I mean, by a fucking number 2 might as well have been 200. I mean, it by a power mile. So
Yeah.
And how deep into the 9 hours was that? Wasn't that like really far into it? It's all a blur.
No, she was relatively early, I would say, because that somehow we had wrapped relatively early with the interviews for the most part, and then the three of us somehow went on for hours and hours more. So she was relatively early. I think she was in the first couple hours. Man, that's a heartbreaker. I hope she's cool though. It had gone on a long time that she said she was in transit and having some issues, and then I'd actually when I wasn't talking a few times, I was calling her number. And I wasn't able to reach her, and then she had just hit me and said that. So hopefully things are good there, and this has nothing to do with those 4 counties.
So maybe, because people did show up for this, you want to give them kind of like a overview, or do you want to save it like an overview of what you seek to cover with Thug Queen when we get her on?
Yeah,
not details, but just like an overview. Because people want to know.
Yeah, because she did just say doesn't say that exactly. I don't know if she's typing with one hand or talk to text, but it looks like she said let's get the reschedule. So I mean, I have an extensive amount of Mothug questions for her. I mean, I'm talking everything from when exactly did you come into the fold, so we can figure out, was it at the end of Art of War? Was Art of War already out? Things like that. So we got that. I know everybody wanted to know about the unreleased, tracks as far as Bud Smokers Only 2 and things like that. So I had some stuff about that. That Soul Train era where it kind of just seemed like the Mo Thugs was crazy. Felicia, Thug Queen, Soulja Boy, and Mohart. I got questions about that. And obviously questions about her solo. A plethora of Ghetto Cowboy questions. Things about the video, things about Powder. A lot of you wanted to know about the prank that Crazy Bone, had played on her. I had questions about that. I also had a lot of questions about like that Thug Mentality 99 era. And, it's interesting because, and I had questions in there around this, but it's like, if you guys remember on the inside of Thug Mentality 99, it showed all the Thug Line artists that were, to come. Asu, Bam, Night Riders, all that. And Thug Queen is featured there, okay? So at that time, we had all assumed, hey, she's going to go over to Thug Line. And or she's on Thug Line. And it even reads like it even reads like those are solo albums that are, set to come out, right? But if you read all the notes in Thug Mentality, Thug Queen, she appears courtesy. Dub Z wants to know what happened to Relay. I got contact with 2 members of them. It says that she is courtesy of Mo Thug Records. Now, I got a couple theories on that. One is she was getting ready to transition, so she was still with them. The second is those songs were recorded possibly for family reunion. There's no guarantee that those were, done later on when the other ones were. In fact, I think Crazy said a lot of those songs were older. I mean, we know the Graveyard Shift one is. So maybe it's courtesy because it was recorded during that Mo Thug era. But either way, I was seeking clarification on that, on some Night Rider stuff. Soulja Boy had mentioned that Armageddon was originally meant for the Armageddon soundtrack, so I had some questions about that. And then, I just had the regular after Mo Thug and Bone questions for her. What's been going on. You remember in 2012 she had a single called Get Your Hustle On, so and that looked like she was going to do like a revival. So I had questions about that as well. So hopefully we get a reschedule with her. I really hope things are good for her. I mean, I know it's a crazy time in this world right now. So I just got pulled over could mean a bunch of shit. So I hope everything's good for her. Cause she was really excited. If you guys follow the Queen on IG, she's been religiously posting the interview in her story. So I know she was excited to come on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm much more worried about what's going on than the interview. So
yeah, I'm sure we'll get her on in the aftermath of this. If you haven't caught the interview from the live, if you hit the season 3 playlist, her mini interview is in there.
Yeah, and also we have a live playlist, and a lot of individual parts from the live are cut out in there, so you don't have to try to scoot around 9 hours worth of going live to find where Thug Queen's at. We cut it out for you guys as well. So there's that. And I guess we should just rehash on this idea of these are the perils of going live.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Okay, look, she just messaged me again, just so everybody knows. I was like, just make sure you give me an update because I just announced it to the fans. Some of them are a little concerned. And she said, tell everybody I'm good and we can definitely reschedule as soon as possible. I apologize. I wish I could be there. So whatever happened kind of held her up. I'm not going to dig in, guys. What the fuck just happened in this police interaction for her? But I did tell her that you guys were worried, and she made sure to message me back, and she said that she was good. So I did want to let you guys know that.
That's good news. At least she's safe.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah.
I'll just point out that our live mini interviews, which are 20-some minutes, there's nothing mini about them. That's longer than some other people's full interviews. So Beyond the Harmony goes hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cecil was doing it's 800 overtime because there was more than 8 interviews in that and 9 hours. And so Cecil on the fly, I don't think we wrote any questions. We just freeballed that whole 9-hour thing. I mean, we did have a schedule of guests to show up, and shout out to Cold Blooded and Skin and Bones. They had Skin had a scheduled slot, and Cold Blooded came into the family, and we got to check him out. And if you haven't seen his tracks, check those out as well. He's got a track with Lazy Bone. and he's got a live performance. So we got to meet not just them, but also some fans like Turok and Therese called in, I think, and our guy from Australia called, Ante Perchovic, and
Auntie P.
so it was cool to, in addition to like the Beyond the Harmony alumni, it was also cool to meet the fans as well. So it was definitely a 9-hour marathon. I took the day off from work the next day.
Hazard
But
Bone says, "Damn, hope she's got her sawn off shotgun." I love ghetto cowboy jokes.
Hey, when you put out the feeler for the questions, because like this wouldn't be right to bring up when Doug Queen's on, but somebody said, "Hey man, ask her if she's still wanted in 2 counties for armed robbery." That's hilarious. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad she's good. And these are the perils of going live.
It is, man. Like, because I think we had one before we were doing live, and it was like, oh well, no big deal. Let's just reschedule it and we'll record it and we'll drop it when it is. And this is, hey, it's live. Anything can happen live. Super unfortunate that this happened, but it happened anyway. This is what I'll do. Let me go to my Zoom. Let me go to my Zoom. I'll randomly call motherfuckers. I don't care. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got.
There was, while you're figuring that out, I'm going to bring this topic up. In the meantime, I seen somewhere, and I don't remember if it was official news or fanfare, but somebody said that Days of Our Lives, Shoot 'Em Up, Everyday Thing, and there was a fourth one. I don't know if it was The Points, or I feel like there was another soundtrack song that they were all recorded for Eternal, but got cut from the album and got farmed out to all those soundtracks. And this was during the era when soundtracks were big deals. Like, it wasn't like mixtapes or whatever. Soundtracks were events. Does anybody know if that is actually true, or how do you feel about that theory, or what does that make you think about? Could you imagine if those songs were on Eternal as well? Imagine if Days of Our Lives doesn't sound like Eternal, neither does Shoot 'Em Up, neither does Everyday Thing. And The Points, I don't even know when that one happened. But I'm glad those came out individually as singles or as soundtracks. And what's the fourth one I'm missing? Because I don't think it was The Points. I feel like there was another big deal single. And all these are amazing. Like Days of Our Lives, Shoot 'Em Up, Everyday Thing. These are staples of Bone and The Points. So what you guys heard about that? Have you ever heard those theories, Matt or Cecil?
I was typing to fans. I was totally clocked the fuck out. So
okay. What about you, Matt?
I don't think most of those were recorded at the same time because the production sounds so completely different. Shoot 'Em Up and Days of Our Lives, maybe. And I could even see at that time, with what I think I know about the music industry, that there may have even been a deal for record 2 songs for soundtracks. You know what I mean? Something like that. But The Points almost feels like they added on to it in a way, and more, not cobbled together, but
I didn't catch. I'm just putting this together. Oh, shout out to Turok in the building with a $5 super chat. He said Bone Collector videos. You want to do a Bone Collector video, Turok? Tell me what it means. By the way, for everybody that did a super chat, make sure you send me a DM or John a DM or Matt a DM with your question that you had for Thug Queen, and we will make sure that we add it for when she reschedules. And if for some reason that doesn't work out, or it doesn't work out till later, we'll make sure that you get a guaranteed question on, whatever one that you want to do. So if you did a super chat, make sure you let one of us know, and we're going to take care of you. Turok, if you're looking to do a Bone Collector video, bro, you know that I'm in. It sounded like the question was about those songs and when they were recorded, and if they were recorded roughly the same time. I'll just say, as far as The Points, I always kind of felt like The Points may have been like between Creepin' and Eternal in some way, like after Creepin', but before they really started to dig deep into Eternal. I mean, I think a bunch of Creepin' and Eternal was kind of done around the same time, or at least like the early Eternal demos. But yeah, I always thought like the Points verses were early, and I haven't heard The Points in a really long time. But I believe, is it Crazy? Does Crazy bring back his like Flow motion verse or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember now. Yeah.
Crazy Bone is Bubba Bucket, and once again, it is like how it starts. And with Busy Bone's verse, is there a single English word spoken? His and Wish's verse, I don't think either of them actually have a legible, audible words that might appear in a dictionary.
Sounds like a decoding the double clock video.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I don't know what you were trying to cook up on the side there, Cecil. But I'll bring up what I have coming soon. And then when I finish, feel free if you want to bring up some of the cool things you're cooking up on the side as well.
Oh, I got some good ones.
Yeah. So this weekend, I'll be editing together. I found an old, you guys might have seen earlier this year, I narrated the source article of when the Eternal came out. And I found this old article from around the time that Speaking in Tongues came out by Busy Bone. And this article is specifically, I guess, promoting Speaking in Tongues, but it's the most negative article I've ever seen written about Bone, to the point where it's like, man, I can't believe this got printed, because he's interviewing Busy. It's a bizarre article, and it's newsworthy in that it'll take you back to a dark era of Bone. And so be on the lookout for that. The name of the article is Broken Bone, and I'm just going to narrate it. And I'm narrating it just because it's such a bizarre article that I don't feel was fit to print, but I'm glad it was, because sometimes you need these things to remind yourself of where you were and what was occurring at the time period. So check that out. I'll throw it over to Cecil if he just decides that he wants to give any special trailer sneak peeks.
First, to make up for Thug Queen, I'm gonna bring somebody in. They're pretty fresh to the show, but I'm gonna bring somebody in for just a follow up. But I'm pretty excited about it still. Yeah, so some of the stuff we had talked about it in season 3, some of the stuff that I was working on, and you'll be happy to know one of them I'm really not gonna tell you about, except for what if I told you that right under your nose, there has been a story about good and evil that has been battled over years and multiple albums and videos right in front of you, and you had no fucking idea. What if I said the struggle for Bone Thugs and Harmony's souls unfolded video after video of a war of anger and triumph and all these things in front of your eyes, and no one told you and you had no fucking idea? I'm gonna bring that to you soon. I'm also bringing you three different escape routes used in Down 71. I'm talking street by street, motion by motion, car hood after car hood, bucking shots from trunks. I am talking, I bring you step by step from point A to the motherfucking hideout of Down 71, and I've started to work on that as well. So those are the two biggies. I got some small ones that I'm working on. I always call them my all-star projects. My all-star project is like, the 10-track theory, the Thugs Cry decoding. These are videos that legitimately take my soul. They steal my soul, okay? They steal my fucking soul. And those did, and these will as well. These are also soul stealing videos of mine, but that's all right, because those ones are the ones that I really go overtime. I put the most work in. Jon and now Matt, those are the guys that really are on the other side of my lunatic sprees when I'm doing these things. And it's really they take my soul, and they take a little bit of my co-host souls as well, because every step of the way I'm like, check this out, and give me acknowledgement. And they're like, bro, just do the fucking video. Let me watch the video. I'll acknowledge the fuck out of it. And I'm like, nah, check it out now.
They all turn out good though, man. And I'm still upset that the algorithm didn't give everyday the Notorious Thugs videos part 1 and 2 the love that they deserve, because that was sleuthing just when you thought Cecil West couldn't sleuth any harder. Although I guess the universe did give us all, including the audience, the gift that Mr. Majesty came out of that as a consolation prize. So
Oh yeah, I
were not for nothing.
I said it. I was like, man, I'm really disappointed that the Thugs Cry photo decoding should be semi-viral just because of the fact that Biggie's involved and that song is so big. But the positive that came out of it was certainly that we got the Mr. Majesty connection. And by the way, we were talking about that Thug Queen interview. I don't know if you guys have missed it, because the Mr. Majesty interview did numbers. So if you missed it, there was a live interview on the live grand finale of season 3 with Mr. Majesty, and it was phenomenal. So if you guys missed our follow-up Mr. Majesty interview, you're fucking up. It's great. I see a couple people leaving. You don't want to go nowhere, because even though Thug Queen got caught up in a Western, I got a guest coming. So,
I'm happy that you found something. That's great.
Skin and Bones, you're so far behind us, bro. Your comments are in the past, and by the time you hear this, we're well into the future. Skin and Bones, by the time you hear this, we're 10 minutes in the future on you, bro. Push that button. It says live down on your screen. It'll say live, and if you push it, it'll give you a little red dot, and then you're with us. I got a guest coming. Don't worry.
And no pressure, Matt, if the answer is no. Since I was talking about what I'm coming with and Cecil's coming with, is there going to be some kind of lazy bone book review on your journey, your quest, the Matt epic journey, Homer's Iliad, the Odyssey?
Maybe I'll connect the dots, just like lazy bone. I might. I don't
is
know.
it all about perfect timing, or?
It is. I don't know. We'll see what the wind blew in. But,
I don't. Oh my goodness, I like this too much.
But I can't promise. But at the end, I might get a new breath of fresh air and feel inspired. But I don't know. We'll see. I guess it depends if I have the timing or not.
So we got a super chat in here.
Tell me about
Eddie Johnson.
Tell me
and
all
he's got
about
a question tied to it.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
Eddie dropped $5 on us, and he asked.
Shout out to Eddie Johnson. That's his second super chat of the night.
Not to mention all the excellent questions of the week that he's provided.
That's true. He really brings them, bro.
So Eddie says, "What do you guys feel about Bone re-releasing a hard copy of all their albums with the correct lyrics in the booklet to all their songs?" I'll let you start there, Matt.
I think, well, first of all, huge shout out to Eddie. I feel like he's submitted more questions that we do than anybody. I could be wrong, but they're always really good questions too. So shout out to you, Eddie.
Yeah, they are.
I really like this question. I think I say that about every single one of Eddie's questions, because as you guys know, I try to buy everything. I do buy everything that Bone puts out, and some of the affiliates, because that's really the only way, other than sharing and liking and commenting on their videos, that they exist. That's the only way they're going to ever make more. So I would totally buy it. And like what a lot of rock groups would do is maybe re-release a box set all on vinyl, and it would have like an art book or something like that. And I think that, Eddie, what you're really chasing here is the collection volume 3 in a way. And instead of calling it that or having it be unreleased stuff, just have it be a box set. But then you start to run into all of the problems with what album came out on what label and whatnot. But I would definitely buy it. I might be bursting your bubble here, Eddie, but they don't know what all their lyrics were.
Yeah, it's true. I think don't give lazy and lazygear.com any fucking ideas, okay? Or it could happen because
I get an email every day.
they're re-releasing everything. So I think if they have the ability to re-release it, Lazy Bones are gonna fucking do it. Okay, so they're releasing a bunch of stuff. I remember seeing a graphic where they were getting ready to re-release a bunch of stuff. But yeah, a hard copy. For me personally, I don't give a fuck about hard copy re-releases because I'm just like, I want the OG edition. But what I would say is, I would absolutely buy like, the Book of Bone, and if it was just like Volume 1 was like creeping on a Come Up in Eternal lyrics, or even just creeping on, like I would buy those. Like I would buy a hard copy book with lyrics and maybe pictures in it from those eras. I think that would be exceptional. As far as like buying a re-release of like Eternal, for instance, with lyrics, like I wouldn't go out of my way to buy that CD on itself. If it came with like the bonus book, then I would do it. But like as a collector, I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I care about a copy of Eternal that came out in 2021? Unless, hey, if you were like, oh, by the way, it's gonna have unreleased Eternal shit, then I might fuck one of y'all up on my way through the line to get to the front. Who knows?
Yeah, and as far as I go, I might buy it to support the thing, and then I'll end up giving it to Cecil.
Send it.
I give everything away, so I'd buy it. I've seen, like, I think Busy Bones Heaven's movie had all the lyrics in it. There's a couple other albums that did it as well, but not all of them. But yeah, the correct lyrics, I guess, would be good. But then
it'd be cool. It'd be cool to know. Like, I know there's certain things that we've all guessed for years. Just like, I know if you look up those lyrics, and 101 had corrected a lyric that was done incorrectly online for years. So it's like that would be kind of cool. To just see like, oh, this is what it actually is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that that part would be cool.
I'd want it more like a interactive thing, like Rap Geniuses, with annotations to explain a lot of the lyrics. So, for instance, "Chill, better bring your weapon when stepping," and have that annotated to say like
what that meant.
Chill.
Yeah, right. That would be cool. Hey, that's something Rap Genius should do, is just put like a book out.
Yeah, well, there's got to be a new kind of book. Right. Well, I guess Kindle. So maybe if it was a Kindle book, because you could do that with Kindle. There's annotations for Amazon Kindle, and that would really be cool. So, and like the Thuggin' with 101 on Land of the Heartless, like you mentioned, and have that break out. So that's the way I'd want it. I'd want it to be multimedia than just. I mean, I like booklets, but that's what it would have to be to get my interest.
Yeah, I mean, I would be most down for what I proposed. Like, fuck the CD, fuck the CD, but a book. Boss Beats still talking in all caps and yelling at me. He was talking about K-Chill on that line. Yeah, bro, we know. Who you think broke that story, bro? You with the icebreaker right now. Boss Beats must be new to the channel. Welcome to the channel, Boss Beats.
I'm looking in here for if any of you guys got any questions of the week, drop that in. Cold-blooded double Glock. Yeah, the double Glock. Like the whole Eternal album needs annotations for like somebody that wasn't around at the time period, and even people now, it's like, oh, that's what they meant. And not only that, like some of the streets that they mentioned. Not just on the song Down 71, but like on No Surrender, Lazy Bones kind of describing a route that he was taking. So there's a lot of annotate. I don't know how it even happens. I don't know if they're going to put together something like this for extremely hardcore fans, but it would be kind of neat. Like some new kind of tech, new kind of multimedia needs to come out, and it's got to be financially worth it to do. So, yeah.
I'm trying to get the guest in here, so I'm not trying to ignore Johnny and Matt. I'm working in the background on a last second guest.
So
What
so
I
Turok.
think to go ahead.
Go ahead,
Tom.
Matt. No, go ahead, Matt.
I think the real answer to this physical item that people will they buy it, will they not buy it? I really think it's kind of what you both mentioned already is a book. I think just a book. And some artists will just have a photo book where you know how if a professional photographer does the album work or they were a professional photographer at that summer jam that year, one editor will like go around and get the rights to all of those photos and then compile it into one like coffee table type book. And then maybe the artist would talk like for a little paragraph about each one, but I can't really see that being anything, not that a hip hop artist would do, like Public Enemy would do that. I could see Jay-Z doing that, but not necessarily Bone Thugs.
Speaking of like, I guess just like things like this, because we got some Bone books, but we're talking a very specific kind of thing right now, right? Like we're talking like a Bone lyric book with pictures, for instance. Is there a thing like a physical piece of merch like that you would like made that's in your mind? By the way, if you guys can hear the train behind my house right now, it's fucking awesome all night. Is there something that you would like created that hasn't been? Oh, hold on. I might have the guest. Might have a guest. I see him connecting right now. If the boys in the
Look
Zoom
what we have here.
Yeah, if the boys in the Zoom can see it right now, I know they're gonna be pumped. I see him connecting. We'll see what's up. It's really good for what it is, but leaves you wanting more. Yeah, I saw the busy lyric book. Okay, we got you. You in?
I don't know, Emma.
You in? Hey, 101. Welcome back. It hasn't been long. I appreciate you last second jumping in. I hit 101 and I was like, yo, bro, I had a cancellation. I'm like, we all just on here chilling. If you're not busy, you want to hop back in and just kind of give me a follow-up. And he was like, I'll be right there. So shout out to 101 for the last minute pop-in. We've been talking about you this whole episode. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the comments from your interview or not, but I mean, for real, bro, some people are like, yo, this is the greatest interview that you guys have done in all the seasons. Like, I knew our interview was going to be good. You and I had talked about it a lot. I said, hey, I know this is going to be good, but I also questioned to myself, I'm like, well, how good is this going to be? Because he's only got that one verse for us to really connect with the fans. So I was like, I don't know how good it's going to be. It's top notch. It did great numbers in a very short amount of time, and the feedback has been outstanding. Have you had a chance to see any of that, what the fans have thought?
Yeah, I read through it a couple times. I just like to see the good feedback and how people took to it. This is my first time doing an interview, and really, especially with technology, now people can blink right in and tell you how they feel about something, put a thumbs up, thumbs down. So I really appreciate all the great comments, all the people's interest. It means a lot to me, really.
Yeah. No, it's been really good, and you're a guy that is more quiet on social media, and I think that if you were not, you would probably have an inbox full of people hitting you up, because people were so excited coming out of that. Did you, and I know that this is all kind of new as far as the interviews and things like that, but just thinking about your story and stuff going into the interview, did you kind of feel like, hey, people are going to gravitate towards my story once they hear it? Did you feel like people are really going to connect the way that they did?
No, actually I didn't, because I know social media can be cruel. People can say some real cruel things, so I expected some negativity, some positivity. I done seen people make negative comments on positive things and positive comments on negative things.
Right.
So you never know what you're going to get. So, like I said, I was just real appreciative and humbled by all the great comments and nice thumbs up, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, I was really surprised. I wanted our follow up to be, you know, a little further away, but you were the first person when unfortunately Thug Queen was going to come on, and she had a real bad hold up in the middle of it, and she was very upset that she couldn't be here, and she's going to reschedule. And I was like, man, who can we grab right now? And I was like, I'm gonna hit 101 right now because we've been talking so much. We were telling the fans earlier that you and I were talking about you doing some features and some songs and things like that. And I know that even before the interview, that was something that you were thinking about, you know, doing, and that you were looking into. Did you find extra motivation coming out of the interview and seeing all the positive, the positivity around it to kind of make some new music?
Oh, absolutely, because time has been discouraging. You know, I've been through so many downfalls and stuff like that. It's kind of discouraging. So to see that people would actually take interest in it really just perks my interest in coming back and being able to do some features. I'm not trying to get heavy in the game or none of that kind of stuff. But, you know, it's a saying that I read in a book said, don't die with your music still in you.
Yeah, you said that last time. It really it hit me hard.
Just an artist my whole life, and really always, even when I talk, I be rhyming. People be like, "Man, stop rhyming." I don't even do it on purpose all the time. So, you know, it's some music in me, so I don't mind bringing it out with some good people, or with, you know, on a good platform where just people could take an interest in it. Whether I know it probably won't reach millions of people or none of that, but the people that it do reach and the people that do touch, that's good enough for me.
We had talked a little bit about the possibility of like a GYS reunion with like you and Sin and stuff. If that doesn't come together, is there a possibility of even like a small like EP of you for something with the fans, something 4 to 6 songs or something?
Well, people have been inboxing me lately about old music that I spoke on a lot of songs that's out here that I haven't had access to and things like that. So I got some emails of some old music that I have been doing from people that kept it. And, you know, but I got a lot of new things in my head. Like me and Freaky G, we got a cut we working on called Dark Web. We're supposed to be scheduling a video date for it.
Oh.
You know, for me, I've always been futuristic. It seemed like I'm always rapping about stuff years before it come out. I had an album called Jihad long before the Holy War came out. You know what I'm saying? I wrote 3 albums called The Past, Present, and Future. So, you know, I think that we could make some things that can influence and maybe make people see the music genre and, you know what I'm saying, street culture from a different perspective.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's still a lot left in the tank for you, and I think that's what that interview kind of told us all. I was waiting to see, like I said, what the reception was going to be like, and, you know, the reception was so good that I was like, man, this guy's got it. It's really crazy if you think about it, that for this community of fans, your actual impact is only, you know, that verse and your association to Graveyard Shift. So it's like, for you to be that impactful as a figure based on that limited of a touch on them, it's like, wow, that it would be a shame to not, you know, go further. So I'm glad that you and Freak are working together. Freak's my guy, man. I tell him all the time, like, you know, send me music, send whatever. He's been on Beyond the Harmony. I really enjoyed talking with Freaky G. I'm glad that's somebody that you're working with. He's got a really cool setup too.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna check him out. I'm gonna go up to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm not in Cleveland at the present time.
Yeah. No, that'll be good, man. All Freak stuff has been pretty good, and actually a bunch of his videos have been good as well. We're gonna set the reschedule up. Something that somebody was asking, who was it, John? Therese tonight, before they even knew we were going to bring you on, Therese was saying, that's one of our listeners, one of our loyal listeners for years, all in caps, ask him about the Kool-Aid hat. What does the Kool-Aid hat mean?
But, you know, when you shoot somebody and some blood come out their head, it look like Kool-Aid over the top of the picture.
There you go, Therese. I hope that I hope that answered your question.
A little artistic way of saying it.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you this: has there been has there been anything, I guess, because we talked about how much positive came from the interview and everything. Has there been any negativity or anything negative that came from the interview your way?
If it haven't hit my desk.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear, man.
I really don't focus on negative stuff anyway. I try to keep a positive attitude about everything, even when people make negative comments. Like I said, when bad things happen with the graveyard shift, unfortunately, that gave us positive publicity, as bad as it was. So I always try to find a silver lining in every dark cloud. You know, even people's negative comments, you got to pay attention to them. I don't look at them as haters. I look at them as people with an opinion. And if you pay attention to the people with the negative opinions, maybe you can fine tune yourself. But if you only listen to the positive, you never get a chance to work on your negatives or the way you come off to people. It might not be so impressive. So if it was some negative comments, I would have just grew from it.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, as far as what I saw, there was no negativity. In fact, people were.
I didn't see any.
Yeah, no, people were repeatedly asking, when you were going to come back on and things like that. So, we were talking a lot, and I was like, it would be great to have 101 come on and just be. Just kind of like not even to just necessarily talk about Bone or anything like that. I thought your opinions and your views were so good that it's just interesting to hear your viewpoints on things. Like I was really curious based on the fact that you're a lyricist. In fact, in the Sin interview, like he talked about how advanced you were lyrically. So I was really curious, like how you kind of felt about the current state of hip hop and the music and things that are going on like right now.
People be surprised of some of the artists that I like. But my son is a young artist down in Atlanta. So he sends me his music all the time and I love it. It comes from a young guy's perspective. I think the music industry is always going to evolve. I would like to hear people with a little bit more substance other than the same drugs, streets, guns, gangs. You know what I'm saying? I would like to hear some people with a little more it don't even have to be a positive spin, but a different spin to life, a different spin to the aspect of art, because the art not just about what goes on in the street. The art is about what goes on in the world. And hip hop is the voice of the world, so it should be telling the world a little bit more than just the basic, guns and drugs are good. That's my opinion. Although I love gangster rap, I love gangster music. So, I guess that's a double-edged sword.
I don't know if you've had the opportunity, because I know that being out, is all really new to you, because you had spent so much time incarcerated recently. Have you had a chance at all to hear any of the Bloodline Harmony stuff at all? That's like Busy Bones, like sons and nephews, and they have a group called Bloodline Harmony.
No, I haven't.
I'm gonna have to send you a little bit of that. I'll have to get what. See what you think. Fans are really split on it. Some fans really, really like it. I'm in the fans that really, really like it. Some fans, don't. But I'm like, well, this is like a new spin. If Bone came out and in this era, this is kind of what it would sound like. So I'll have to send a little bit of that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, something that we had talked about. And you had actually said, hey, I held a couple things back in case I ever came back on, and surprise, 2 weeks later, here you are. Right. Something I had sent you a message about was we were talking about Gates during your interview, and I had said, hey, did you ever meet him? And you said no. And when we got offline, I said, hey, I found out, and I'm sure you knew this, but I had no idea that Gates was Tombstone's nephew, because we actually, during your interview, I think we had 2 other of his nephews in the live chat during your interview talking, and one of them had said, hey, Gates is his one of his other nephews.
Oh no, if I said I didn't have opportunity to meet Gates, I misspoke. I had a chance to meet him on a couple occasions.
Oh, so you actually had interactions with him, like you guys had? Yeah. But
I knew he was T-Rock nephew from the outset.
But that was well before probably everything happened, right? Like you met Gates like when you were still GYS and everything, or even before that?
I never seen him before that. I never heard of him until he was on the Graveyard Shift music.
Oh, really?
I told you when 1999 Eternal came out, I was incarcerated. So when I was hearing about the tours, because the whole hood was touring with Bone as bodyguards and just going on tour. So everything that happened and everything that went on, I always knew everything from step 1, step 2. So I was already hearing that he was there, and I already knew who he was. I knew who I wanted to speak to when I got home.
One of the we just had a fan question come in. I know we're kind of running in a bunch of different directions, but I want to make sure the fans get their questions in. Somebody had said, "I'm curious to know some of his spirituality." He had mentioned he had a dark topics earlier, and now he's found a more light approach. Are there any knowledge or books that really influenced his mind?
And there's so many books that influenced my mind because I had to take a journey. I call it the reconciliation of self. When you start with who you are and you journey to who you become, but not separating those two things. So I went through a lot of teachers. I actually started studying with a guy. Well, actually, my very first spiritual Bible that I read was the Bhagavad Gita, and that was in a hotel in LA when we first got out there with Bone. I guess that's the Hindu scripture, and I started reading that, and later I was a guy that always had books, no matter what it was. Everybody always see me like I was a backpacker. At heart, I always been a nerd. So I probably read every book that my homeboy had. He used to have a black bookstore down on 55th and Superior called Timbuktu. And I used to go to a spot called the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Houston and get books. So, you know, I've been influenced from books all the way from the 48 Laws of Power to, man, I could go the Mastermind, the Kabbalion, so many different books about universal law and how to use your mind to formulate the life that you live, things to better and fine tune you characteristically when you out dealing with the world. And, you know, it's a cutthroat world out here, so you got to be an intellectual. You can't always be a physical barbarian and deal with everything physically. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I studied with a guy, Dr. Malachi York, who had built some pyramids down in Georgia. I journeyed through the 5% lessons with the guys in Earth. So I journeyed through the more science. I still study with the more science. I done been somewhere everywhere. I probably read most scriptures. I read the Quran backwards and forth. I read the Bible backwards and forth, the Injil, all types of books. And I can name hundreds and hundreds of them.
Do you have any tips for like books like the Kabbalion and the Bhagavad Gita? Because I've tried reading those and the Book of Thoth or the Emerald Tablets and all that, and the words don't even make sense to me. Like I'm trying, but is there like a way to better interpret it?
I don't know how an individual interprets the information. Me, I takes it, and people always be astonished at how I retain so much different stuff. But I only retain things that I can see in my practical everyday activity. So when I look at books like the Kabbalion, I focus on the 7 principles of universal law inside of there, the mentalism, vibration, rhythm, polarity. And when you think about that, you think about music, the soundtrack to an action. If a person going to shoot somebody, they're not listening to jazz. So their mentalism and the vibration, the rhythm, the polarity, the cause and effect, and the gender is all there in every action that you do. So I apply those things to my daily activities. If I'm doing something, I want to listen to positive music, I'm in a positive mood, then that's what I'm gonna listen to. But because if you listen to certain things or do certain things, that's gonna be the vibratory rate that you bring forth. So as far as the Kabbalion, that's how I really interpret that. And that's how I use that on a daily basis. As far as the Bhagavad Gita, I look at it almost like a song that I'm reading, you know, because it's coming from somebody's artistical perspective. And you might have to listen to a song hundreds of times before you get the meaning of it. You got to really internalize it and see where this person is at when they wrote that. So think about these great spiritual people who wrote these books. Where was their mind and spirit at when they created this song, this book? You know, the Quran is a song. The Bhagavad Gita, they're songs. And that's the way I look at it. And that's probably just my artist perspective, but it works for me. And that's how I retain the information to find a way to use it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just this past 4th of July, somebody sent me a video that there's a monastery in Tibet. So that's Buddhism.
Right.
They uncovered like 13,000 ancient scrolls in this like big warehouse. I mean, it's an ancient warehouse, so it's not like warehouses now.
Right.
And I can't imagine what's inside the text of those books, just to read one of them, just to see what people from the years 1000 to 1500. Has that crossed your plate at all? Did you hear about that? Because
nah, I'm aware of a lot of sad states of ancient literature that was destroyed, hidden. They still got books that everybody can't go see. You know, people been hoarding information forever. Fortunately for us, we're moving into the information age. So you can't hide everything. You know, even people's interpretations is going to grow as we journey into this new age. We just in the first steps of it. So you see people awakening the information and using it to their advantage. So I can see that a lot of those ancient things are going to come up around the world because it's the time for that information to be presented to the world and the people to get a piece of it. So if we haven't seen them, we'll probably start seeing them. I'm sure somebody under lock and key and a gun to keep us from seeing all of it, but it'll leak just like everything else.
Yeah. I'm with that, man. That's and just curious on the title of the dark web. I mean, not to give anything away, but is it like, have you and Freaky G, are you into like the dark web and the deep web and using like the Tor browser and all that, or does it mean something completely different?
No, I'm a secretive person. So anything I do, I don't like people watching me and prying eyes and Big Brother over my shoulder all the time. So anything that's trying to show me a way to be incognito or find a way to not be tracked and targeted, because, you know, they use algorithms, and the algorithms track your every move, your every decision, your every choice. And before you know it, they know you're hungry before you do, telling you what you want to eat for dinner based on the algorithm. And I don't want nobody to be that intimate with me. So I found a way to, you know what I'm saying, start looking at information and seeing things that's not accessible to the normal person first. And that's how my intrigue went. Just like with books, I always wanted to look for the books that people couldn't find. The guy spoke on a book, it's a book, journey of books called the Knocalypsis. I think it's Sir Godfrey Higgins. I think he might have wrote it, or one guy. And you can't find these books, so I'm always on a journey trying to find new information, the things that's hidden. And the dark web ended up being, I guess, the information age hidden book for me.
I've always wondered, and if the game is to be sold, not told, you know, that's fine. I don't know what the difference is between the 5%ers and the gods and earths. Are they the same thing?
And don't let me
difference.
I don't want to speak like I'm a spokesman for anybody, because I don't want nobody to be offended from my view and perspective of things. From my understanding is that they don't know themselves or speak of themselves or call themselves as 5%ers. You call themselves the nations of gods and earths, and it's just, you know what I'm saying, it's a 5% of the population with a certain level of information. You got the 85% of the people that's basically deaf, dumb, and blind, and what they call sheeple. There's people that go along, get along, misinformation or no information. Then you got the 10% people that got some information, but they hoard it and don't want to share it. And then you got the 5% nation that has it, willing to share it, give it up, and continue to grow, develop, and build from there.
I just want
that work.
Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I'm saying that works. All right, now I have a better understanding.
Usually if a guy walks to me and say, yeah, I'm a 5%er, I know he probably not all the way into the teachings as much as he probably proclaimed.
Okay.
And that's how I see it. And usually that's how I work out. If I ask them a couple questions, or, you know what I'm saying, just to see how far they went. They didn't go too far. That's why they say that.
I just want to throw out, I just since 101's been in here, I had a couple of questions, an email and an inbox about features. And I said at the beginning of the show, if you guys are interested in a 101 feature, it's beyondtheharmony99@gmail.com. Send me a message. Let me know what you have on your mind, and we can talk about the details, and we can take it from there. It's all about the presentation and what you guys have in mind. And hit my email, and you know, we'll take it from there. But we can definitely make it happen. People are excited, man. Like, as soon as I put it out there, people were excited to work with you. That must be it must be really, I guess, lifting of your spirit to come from where you've come from, and, you know, especially land on your feet this time coming out of incarceration, do this interview and just see so many people, not just the fans that are excited about just hearing your story, but people that are actually like, how do I get a song with this guy? Like, that must be really good for the spirit.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, like I say, I'm really appreciative and humbled by it. If I could grace somebody's music and make them enjoy it better, or whatever it is, I'll be grateful to do it. You know, just to be able to use my talent and share it. Even it's just fans, people that want to hear me and want to make a song with me. That's how I make music anyway. I never made music for people. I made music for me, and if you like it, that's great. I wasn't trying to be a real people pleaser after a certain point in my music. You know, in the beginning, you want people to like you, but as I grew as an artist and as a person, I started to realize as long as you like you, people will get in. As long as you're true to yourself, people will like it. So if somebody want to do something like that, hit me up. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Something I had wondered about after we had spoke, in life, it's so easy to think about, almost that butterfly effect of, hey, if this happened, where would I be and how would my life be different? And you're a guy that you faced your own trials and tribulations, like we've talked about, in your interviews and stuff. Knowing the outcome of Mothug, Graveyard Shift, things like that, in the world where things do go the other way, is even though you're a guy that, didn't end up reaping the record label benefits and you ended up incarcerated, is there a piece of you that is still like relieved that you didn't end up down that path, knowing what we know about all the situations now?
Well, I think real destinies unfold in time. And you can think that one thing is destined for you and you got something greater than that. Sometimes you got to go through the trials and tribulations, because my incarcerations have come out to start helping me as a person and in life now, because those are experiences I got. And even through those experiences, people see my ability, the things I learned, because I spent every day in prison reading, learning, and fine-tuning myself, and not really getting caught up in what goes on inside the institutions per se. So, with that, I'm still finding my destiny, and it's coming back, even with you guys bringing this forth. I wouldn't have came on YouTube or another channel and even had these topics or discussions discussed. So, as you grow and develop, life grows and develops with you. It opens up a future that you might not have seen. And I think I wrote a book called Derailed Destiny, Dreams Deferred, because a lot of times, we can have a destiny and set our mind to it and want to go to it, but we get derailed in that. And at some point you got to catch it. It's like missing a train, but running, trying to catch up with it. If you run fast enough, you run strong enough and hard enough, and then make enough stops, you can catch back up with it. So I think that's life for me. I missed a couple trains, then now in time, I catch back up with them, but I'll enjoy the seat when I finally catch up with it.
Mm. You had said that you had written a book. Was that something that you wrote? Did you ever get a chance to actually get out like copies and stuff, or did you just write it? What was the situation with that?
Well, I wrote it through my last incarceration, but the federal institution I was at made it very difficult to use any types of computers. So we had to use these ancient typewriters. And I got frustrated with this typewriter trying to rewrite chapters and stuff like that. So I ended up shelving it. I sent it out. And I actually just got it back in the mail. So I'm thinking about sitting down and really rehashing it, because I want a lot of guys to understand about destiny, about life, and how, the power of thought and the power of action can bring out whatever it is that you want to bring out in life. But you also got to be prepared for it. It's a great book called Thinking in Destiny by a guy, Harold Percival. And man, he breaks down the power of thought down to the mathematics and everything. It's a powerful piece. It's another set of books. I think his name is Dr. I know it's called Power and Consciousness. Power versus Consciousness. Some I forget. I done read so many of them. But he breaks down consciousness to a mathematical vibratory rate and shows you just basically how to make things happen. But people don't realize, even if you don't know this information, you're still using it every single day. You're still thinking, you're still acting, you're still vibing, you're still using these principles. So if you don't understand them, you can use them to your own detriment, and you can use them to your own greatness.
Have you ever had a scenario, be careful what you ask for because you might get it?
Oh, absolutely.
And are you really
John be telling me that all the time. John tells me all the time. He's like, Cecil, you be careful what you're putting out there, bro. You're going to end up with it.
Man, a lady told me a long time ago, I was a kid, I met a spiritual lady, and she told me, you want anything in life, I can show you how to get it. But no, she said, it's 3 things. You got to name 3 things that you want in life, and I can show you how to get it. So I'm like, yeah, tell me. So she said, you write them down and you repeat this chant every time. Focus on one of them at a time. And she gave me this chant. And I actually seen the chant in the movie about what was that? Ike and Tina Turner. When Tina Turner turned her life around and she was sitting chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And that's the chant that the lady had told me when I was a child to make these 3 wishes. So my first wish was, man, I wanted to be the best rapper ever. You know, so I sit down and I'm doing that, but I also was told by somebody else, you can't just wish for it, you got to work for it. So with my wish and my work behind the scenes, I feel like that's what I was becoming and working toward, and also made the other 2 wishes. But she also said, if you don't take them when they come, they'll never come back.
That's the door. I call that part the door. So, you know, you can make the wish, and I call it like asking the universe to provide an opportunity, and the universe can provide it. And usually it's in a creative way because it can't reveal itself. But the hardest part most of the time is walking through that door. And that's what most people won't do, is they'll get the door presented, and then not everyone has that ability to walk through it.
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of people, that's where a lot of these sciences teach about consciousness. Consciousness is awareness and paying attention to everything that's going around you. So like you say, when the universe starts to formulate a world around your thoughts to bring them forth, you may not even see it because our limited views and ideas, we don't see it coming a certain way. Some people might wish for money. Okay, you wish for money. What if somebody got to die and you get a life insurance policy? You know what I'm saying? You got to be very specific about what it is that you're looking for and how you look to get it, but you also got to be prepared when that opportunity arises. So, you know, constantly you see people wishing for things and hoping for things and then steadily missing the opportunity. It's like the story of the people that was going down the river on their way to the waterfall. And they like, God, help us. And the log floats past. And they like, God, please help us. Don't let go of it. A turned over boat floats past. And finally they go over the cliff. And they get to heaven and they ask God, man, why you ain't help us? You didn't hear us praying. He said, you ain't seen the log I sent you? You just turned over boat. And that's how we live life. You know what I'm saying? We pass logs and turned over boats all the time, but we look to the sky and wait for something to take place. It's already taking place. It's by the power of our thinking and actions.
Yeah. There's a there's a book and I guess a documentary called The Secret. John put me onto it, and he's like, look, you know, when you get into this, he's like, you're gonna have to look past the fluff, and the fluff is, you know, hey, if you put it into the universe enough, you're gonna get it. Wow, I want a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari. And he's like, look, you're not getting a fucking Ferrari just wishing it out there. But what it is if you put your mind on this Ferrari enough and you put it out there, that opportunity to grab that is going to come, but your eyes got to be wide enough to see, oh shit, this right here is my opening to get it. And it's probably going to come with some work. It's probably going to come with some sacrifice. And I think that that's the part where people get lost in translation, which is, well, I asked for it enough. You mean I'm not just going to get it? They're not just going to give me the fucking Ferrari? It's like, nah, bro, we gave you a door in to get it. And once I learned that asking for it and then looking for the opportunity and seeing that opportunity in front of me, that's when my whole life changed. 100% was witnessing the opportunity and then doubling down on it.
Oh, absolutely. Faith without works is worthless. So, you know what I'm saying? Then even wishing it, the mind is not just powerful enough within its regular conscious mind to make things come about. Them just fleeting thoughts. You really got to internalize it. You got to feel it. That's why they say visualize it, draw a picture of it, write it down, because you write things into existence. You speak things into existence. And once again, as a kid, I was on house arrest. And I used to sit in the window all day, couldn't come out. And it was a guy had an old school Chevy right outside, an older guy. And I used to be in the window asking him questions, and he was just annoyed by it. He hated me. I come outside, sneak and talk about this car. It was green with a white top. And I'm like, man, I want one of these. I'm going to get me one of these. Oh, you never get one of these. You got this, that, and the fourth. And he, you know, just talking my dream down. I should sit in that window like, I'm going to show him. And my very first car, matter of fact, the car that me and Lazy and them used to go do gong shows in and kick it on 99th in was my very first car, 1966 Caprice Classic, black with a white top. Then I couldn't wait to take it up there and show that old man. It don't take long, player. All you got to do is want it, wish it, and make it happen.
Yeah. No, that's...
I found, and I'm wondering too, I found that there's like, lately I've been finding that there's like these tasks that I have to complete to then unlock the next step to the journey. Have you, from your experimentation or experience of it all, did you find that there's like a stage you have to pass, and then when you do it, it's not quite a reward, but it's like an item or access to the next level?
Well, I think a lot of time we open doors because we don't realize we focus on a lot of different things. Our minds is not one track minded. So we can create all types of different things to go on, and some of them can conflict against each other, contradict each other, and we really got to weed it out. That's why I really like that Thinking in Destiny by Harold Percival, because he says when we get to a certain part of the manifestation, we stop. We stop learning from the experience, and we keep all these open experiences. And all these open experiences is really shrouding the one experience that we're really trying to have, because we keep wanting and seeing. You know, even the Buddhists, they say the greatest action is inaction. Sometimes we got to stop acting. Sometimes we got to stop putting our fingers in the ether and wishing for things, because our wishes can be small compared to the universe's order is tall. You see what I'm saying? So we can wish for things. You see, you might want a Ferrari, but they might got a string of Maybachs for you. You know what I'm saying? You thinking, and in the world of what you could attain, your wishes are small.
No, it's true.
So I'm well aware of all of that. So I kind of just sit back and let things take place. I learned in prison, like people used to always be like, what you gonna go home and do? Man, shit, I don't know. You got to have a plan. No, I don't have to have a plan. What I need to do is prepare myself for opportunity, because I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know what job's going to come my way. Now, if I say, oh, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start X, Y, and Z business, and I pass up all these other opportunities that people going to get me to the steps of what I want to do, because I've been one track minded and set my mind on doing one thing. So for me, I just prepare myself for opportunity. If I fine tune myself, I don't need to have all these great ambitions. My ambition is to take advantage of what the universe has for me.
When it comes to writing things down, because I've noticed that, you know, I've seen the laws of power and all the great gurus, they always talk about writing it down. And I used to wonder, you know, whenever I would do that, it would work. But I would think to myself, is it me challenging myself, or speaking on like the surveillance, the dark web and all that? Is there somebody watching like that we have to put it on paper so their video cameras somewhere can see what it is we want? Like
I think we just the masters of our own destiny, and we creators. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the hand of God was the first thing they were speaking of. What's the hand of God? The one that's at the end of your wrist. So, you know what I'm saying? When you sit down and you put things into writing, that's the hand of God writing the future. You know what I'm saying? When you think, and not only that, but it's using a different part of your brain that you might not use when you're talking. So what you're doing is opening up different compartments of the universal self to bring forth what it is that you want to do. So when you write it down, or you see a picture of it, you visualize it. You're using the visual part of the mind. When you write it down, you're using the yod, the creative hand of God. You see what I'm saying? When you speak it into existence, God spoke the world into existence, right? You know what I'm saying? Through vibration. So when you use all these different elements, you write it, you think it, you speak it, all those different things is assimilating the small unit of the God body that we are, to be able to bring out what it is that we want to manifest.
That is amazing. And you know what else is wild too, is that woman that you spoke to all those years ago, she mentioned that it was 3 wishes. And that reminds me of the genie and the lamp, which I guess may relate to the Bhagavad Gita, with like the lamp and all that, I guess India and all that. So is there something to that it's like, what's the 3 wishes, or is that more of like a numerical, you know, the mind, body, spirit, God, Father, Holy Spirit, ego, id, superego? Like, why is it always 3 wishes? And did you find any, or is that just an arbitrary number, or did you find something specific? Or is it like the sacrifice, the door, and speaking it into, because like the act of asking for the wish, that's the speaking of it.
Right.
Then I guess the wish presents with the door, and then there's some kind of a sacrifice to get through it. It's not like a human sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of time. It's a sacrifice of effort. It's a sacrifice of like letting go of fear to actually go through the door. I'm just wondering if there is anything to the 3 wishes. And if you don't know, that's fine too. I've always heard the 3 wishes, and I was wondering if there was something to that.
Well, you know, a wise man knows he knows nothing. So I'm just saying from what I learned, you know, if somebody can get something from it. I see that throughout so many teachings, the number 3 is significant. When you talk about the Holy Trinity, the mind, body, and soul, hell, earth, and heaven, you know what I'm saying? Everything was always split up in 3s. So I think the 3 is just a symbolic number for the 3 levels of existence. And that's mind, physical, and spirit. So, you know what I'm saying? When you thinking about wishes, those are the 3 things that you have to put behind any wish. Those are the three things that you got to put behind any ambition. I think they're just symbolic. And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the literal meanings of things that we don't see the symbolism of something greater and higher of what it's really telling us. So like I said, when I look at the number 3, that's what I see. I see that if I want to make any wish come true, and why do I need a whole bunch of them? Because if I make one good one, I don't even need 3.
I got a question. We're rounding into the 10 o'clock, which is when we shut the show down. So I got a question that I kind of want to get out there before I let you go. And I guess it's half a question, half your perspective for somebody that may be in this situation. How do you feel about the theory that, you know, prison will take someone that made a mistake and turn them into a career criminal? And if somebody was listening that may be in that situation or facing that situation, what kind of advice would you give them? Because, you know, that is a harsh reality, and a theory that's out there is that you can take somebody that made a small fuck up and put them in this system and that they never escape.
Well, I think the system is set up to not let you out of it, because once they get you in there, you become just another dollar value and another number. So it's easy to get caught up in the revolving door of it. You get out, you're on probation. Now you got all these stigmatisms against you. You're convicted felon. You're looking for jobs. You got parole officers on your back. You might have back child support. You might got all these different issues. Now the burden is greater to do what you got to do, and you got to do it immediately. And the system is not set up for men, first and foremost, but it's also not set up for priorly incarcerated men. So you get out and you find yourself behind the 8 ball. Where you gonna live? You got to go stay with somebody. Is that safe? Is that a safe environment? Is that a positive, conducive to success environment? So it's not just the system, but it's the cycle. So what do people do? They end up going back to doing what they need to do to put money in their pocket and food in their stomach immediately. You know what I'm saying? And the opportunity is not always out there. So I think that if a person doesn't have the right network and the right frame of mind, it's easy to get caught up into a revolving door and a cycle, and it'll just keep circulating through until you just decide, I got to make the hard choices. I got to do the things that I got to do.
Is there advice for someone in your shoes, or, you know, that's been in those shoes of once you are out, you know, how to handle life once you're out, especially someone that, you know, may have faced incarceration for a long time? For you, the world had changed a lot. You had mentioned social media and just how we do things. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's kind of hitting the ground running on how to handle things so that you don't end up right back in that situation? Because being institutionalized is a very real thing that people face.
I mean, first of all, you got to catch on before you catch up. And that's a lot of guys' problem. You know what I'm saying? They go out and they don't even know what the hell going on out here, but want to get in the thing and think everything like it used to be. So first of all, you got to take it slow. You got to be patient. You got to will and hell. All the first of this year, I was walking on the bus in the winter in a homeless shelter. You know what I'm saying? People don't know that. That's a choice that I made.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I'm saying, it's where I'm at in life, and I needed to humble myself and really have an experience. I haven't caught the bus in since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been in that situation, but I placed myself in that situation because it's something that I felt like I needed to experience. You know what I'm saying? I'm nowhere near that now, and it's only a couple months later, but that's an experience that humbled me, catching the bus to work, and, you know what I'm saying, going to work at 9 to 5, something I really haven't done in my life. So, you know what I'm saying, just by, sometimes you got to recreate yourself.
Yeah.
Master the art of the bold move, but you also got to humble yourself and make that bold move conducive to what it is that you're trying to be. Right now, I go to work a couple days a week. I go to work with the youth some days a week, but I also go work in banquet serving and kitchen serving because it's good to be social and learn how to step outside myself and be of service instead of being of a nuisance. So you got to really challenge yourself and see your negatives and your weaknesses and work toward whatever it is that you got to do to change that to make yourself a better person and create a new life for yourself.
it's almost like sometimes you got to take a few steps back if you want to take those steps forward you've been trying to take. Like if you're hitting that wall and you're not getting forward, it's almost like you might have to take a few steps back and take a different street or pull a U-turn before you're going to be able to take those steps forward that you've been trying to get to. Because you're a smart guy and you seem very motivated. Like I feel like now in your life, especially with your clear mind, that there's not much that you wouldn't be able to accomplish if you set out to do it. Unfortunately, in life, we find out so many times that some of these things just come with time and age and that veteran experience of knowing how to handle them.
That's what it is. The sooner you get it, though, the sooner you get it.
Yeah.
You know, so if it takes you a little later in life to get an understanding, then I guess that's when you got to get it. I was one of those people. I was a hard head. And I kept making the same mistakes, get caught up in the revolving door. You know what I'm saying? I had so many bouts of drug use, smoking water, and having bad episodes and letting that affect my life and my decision making. People don't realize that a altered mind is a dangerous thing to have. And in our communities and in the streets, there's so many people that's just liquor, weed, water, pills, and constantly having a mind-altering substance. When you're in a mind-altering state, you can't think straight. There is no consciousness. There is no awareness. The awareness that you have is not reality. So the life that you live is not realistic life when you offer these substances. So that's one thing that people got to realize. If you really want to be successful, you need a clear mind.
101, I want to thank you for the last minute jump in and spending the time to chop it up with us, chop it up with the fans. We talk about it all the time. We talked about it briefly, but I really hope we make you a regular staple here, because I think that you're very intelligent, and it would be interesting. We were talking about it in the side chat. Busy used to have an affiliate named Mr. Majesty, and we interviewed Majesty recently, and you guys are so similar. I was like, man, we got to connect up Majesty and 101. You guys are very similar in your thoughts and even the way you rap, and it's always refreshing to talk to him, and it's been refreshing to talk to you. So I hope we get you back on again in the future. Whenever, hey, I told you last time, whenever you want to pop in, the door is always open. This is for you, my man.
All right, cool, man. I appreciate it.
Hell
you calling me out of all the people, because you've had a lot of great people on here, interviewed a lot of great people. I'm sure you know a lot of people. So just to have me in mind to come fill in for somebody, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. No, hey, you were first on the list, bro. I was really excited. I told everybody, I was like, yo, I was so excited to do the 101 interview, but I was like, I kind of had some sadness after, and they were like, why? I was like, well, because it was over and there was so much buildup between me and 101. We connected so well over like a month time span that it was like we built it up and then it was over. So I'm glad that you're still connected to the show, and I really look forward to everything that you and I are working on the side, and I think it's going to be great. So I appreciate you taking the time to jump back on, man.
Absolutely, man. You're a great guy. I'm glad the universe brought us together.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you, man. You have a great night.
All right, guys. Catch y'all later. Peace, everybody.
I'm looking forward to Derailed Destinies whenever it comes out.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I was going to say is we've done a few books, bro. Me and John have done a few books. So if you need some guidance, we can help guide you.
It's sitting on my bed right now.
Bro,
I got it in the mail not too long ago, and I just got to start finding time to hash it out.
Well, we'll talk offline. You let me know. Like I said, John, how many books you done, John? I've only done one, and John oversaw the whole thing.
Yeah, the winter is a good time for me. That's when I really got less things, and I really sit down and think through the winter, through the cold months. So I'll probably get on that when the fall hit.
Hell yeah. Just let me know, bro. You know we got you on it.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, brother. Have a great night.
All right, y'all too. Peace.
Peace. Hey, that was really cool, Johnny. I'm glad that we were able to get him to come through and hang out. He I told you I was working on the side. I was like, oh, I felt so bad that Thug Queen couldn't come through. And the worst part was, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, Queen, hey, Queen, what's up? Hey, we running out of time. Queen, where you at? And I'm blowing her up the whole time. She's dealing with a fucking cop, So I felt really bad. I was like, how can I help make this up to the fans? And the situation with 101 had gone so well that I was like, man, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I'd love to have the guy back on. And it was good. I loved all that. We didn't even talk barely any bone shit. He's very knowledgeable. He's very intelligent.
Yeah, it's a shit. Had I known there was like a bunch of questions I had too that were, I mean, we got to hash some of them out tonight, which was nice. You know, the side story to Beyond the Harmony, sometimes we go off and stop talking Bone and we talk spirituality, but I think this is an important part of Bone. I mean, Busy Bone's always talking these kind of topics. You actually get down and listen to Busy Bone albums, it's all this kind of stuff. You get down and listen to some of Crazy Bones albums, it's all this kind of stuff. And even like the titles of Lazy Bones albums, the Law of Attraction, the definition and the meaning, you know, all this stuff it all ties in, I think. And then even just looking at Skin and Bones albums, it's all these kind of topics. So this is part of Bone fandom. It's not the music part, but it's the mental part, it's the spiritual part. It's true, humbly united, gathering souls. So if we turn some of you guys off, I hope not, because this gives you a deeper, more appreciative understanding of a lot of the music that they come out with. And I love 101. If you're adept and you're into what he was talking about, he was so specifically and concisely dropping knowledge bombs and knowledge references and he was doing it authoritatively, so like not authoritative, but confidently. And especially when I asked about the Kybalion, he knew the different levels of it like that. He didn't even, there was no ums, there was no thinking, there was no, he had it right on point. And if you guys don't know about the Kybalion, it's a big deal book for a lot of people. It's one of the top, I don't even know if it's a spiritual book. It's like a life guidance book. It kind of ties into Hermeticism, Hermes, Trigemestus, and Thoth in a way. And that may not make sense, but someday it might. And I even saw Skin and Bones bring up Thuggy. And I remembered I learned about that from the White Book. And I don't fully remember what I learned about it, but I wrote it down. I'm going to look that up. So anyway, if Derailed Destinies ever comes out by 101, I'll be one of the first people to buy it. I wanted to mention earlier, right when I got cut off, that I did purchase Tony Tone's book, From the Hood to Something. I bought it on his Instagram. I haven't got it yet, but it was like this week that I did it. So if you guys want to support the Tony Tone project, check out his new book. I purchased a copy.
Yeah, he's got like 3. I think he's got them all for sale. So, and you can get that through his Instagram, or you can check out the newest edition of Bone News Network with Matthew Weaver, and he talks about it at the end of that and how you can get yourself a copy.
And just so you know, Cecil, that because John ordered a copy, eventually that copy is going to end up on your doorstep. All
right, you just do all the video shit you want to do with it before you ever send it to me. Ever. Do all the shit you got to do. I once again, you know, I want to apologize to the fans. I know that we were all very hyped up for Thug Queen tonight. I promise you, no one's more crushed than me with the 70 questions that we had written up for her. But I am very comforted in the fact that she said we need to reschedule ASAP. And, you know, so hopefully we get that new date working as soon as possible. Once I do, I will I'll drop that on everybody, and we'll get it in motion. When we said that we were going to do season 4 live, we knew that anything could happen. And this is one of those things. Shout out to 101 who came in last minute to kick it with us. This is Beyond the Harmony Live, Season 4. My name is Cecil West, rocking with the one and only
Jonathan Lippy with the donut tire microphone.
And the man with the baddest beard in Bone.
I am Matthew Weaver.
And we will catch you on the next one.
Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate. Uploading new videos every Thursday, so join